This is my first Olympics. And I'm sitting at the start line, and all I can remember thinking is how quiet it is, because nobody watches the start of the race, right? All the grandstands are at the end. And I'm like, this is the Olympics. This is a big deal. And I just remember just like attention, and then my brain clicking like, oh man, we are about to go in the Olympics. And there is zero sound right now. Like, I don't hear anything except the blood pounding in my brain. And then the buzzer goes off and a blacked out. No. And then it's all automatic, right? Every stroke you've taken up to this point has led you to this moment, and you know what to do. Your brain almost turns off, your physiology takes over, and you just go. Hey guys, what's happening? Sorry, I was just working out for the Olympics. I just barely made it back. It's chilly out there.
Did you row here, Brett? Did you row here?
Hey, what's up? Yeah,
Get all the gear out.
There's a river nearby.
What's the recovery beverage you're using these days?
It's a little single malt scotch called from Abalor, called Abunud.
Is that the one that's infused with electrolytes? That I've read about?
Yeah. It's good for recovery. It's good for the muscles, and
plants
it's
crave.
What plants crave. Yeah,
it's what I crave right now.
Welcome back to Fast Motherfucking Friends, everybody. It has been
see you guys.
A hot minute. It has been a hot minute. Brett,
I'm excited.
The other reason I'm excited too. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
The group therapy with Dan, Steve, Luke, and Justin.
Yep, I appreciate the context. I think if it is a group therapy, it's awesome, and I have to share this with the group, Brett. Part of the other reason why I'm really excited to have you here, because this is my first Fast Friends episode. Where I am no longer involved in the sport of rowing as a vocation.
Hey now. Really? You're not selling boats anymore?
Not selling boats anymore. Nope. So I'm excited that I can speak more freely than I normally do. So look out, world.
Long enough. Jesus.
Yeah, I tried.
The second I was done rowing, I'm like, that was great.
30 plus years.
I'm going to go do something else now.
So as we get into this, which I think we are at this point, Steve hit record and your entrance was beautiful.
Good.
It's good to see Luke, Justin, Steve, the team back together. And Brett, we're going to use artificial intelligence to read your bio today. And Justin actually has given me the opportunity to read your bio. So I'd like to start off with that. Brett Newlin is 6'9" and worth the climb.
AI got that. How does it know?
No, that was me. That was me. Yeah, that was me.
That was my catchphrase before AI. There's no record.
It's out there. It knows everything about you. Great father, 3 children, beautiful wife. And Brett Athlin is one of those athletes whose story is almost more interesting because it doesn't follow the stereotypical Olympic path. He grew up in Rivington, Wyoming, and a hot air balloon is where he was born. Not exactly a traditional hotbed, and eventually became a 2-time Olympian for Team USA in one of the most physically demanding sports in the world. I actually have the physiology to prove that. What makes Brett especially interesting is his combination of size, intelligence, and work ethic, unless it's the last set of power cleans. He's 6'9", again, worth the climb, which is obviously helpful in rowing. But he's also studying computer engineering at the University of Washington while competing at an elite level. Most people can barely survive one of those environments, let alone both at the same time, and be good at dancing. He transferred to Washington after starting at Michigan State and became part of the top rowing programs in the country. He's also one of only 1 people who've raced at 5 IRAs, I believe.
That is one of one there, yeah.
Yeah, one of one. He is a phenomenal athlete with the ability to race both the straight 4 and the 8 at the Olympics, 2008 in the 4 and 2012 in the 8. And one of the coolest parts of this story was the 2012 Olympic qualification process, because Steve and I couldn't qualify the boat in 2011.
Oh man, you want to talk about that? I don't want.
Let's get there at the end.
I'm just trying to have some fun. Anyway, it's not a sore spot.
Whose therapy is this? Is this Dan's or Brett's?
I'm just reading what the AI said, guys. And so the U.S. men's 8 had to qualify through rowers called the Regatta of Death in Lucerne. Basically, the last chance qualifier where either your Olympic dreams are alive or over in a matter of seconds. Brett and that team got through it, finishing 4th in London with a very tight race, missing the podium by less than a second. And what mostly stands out about Brett and his teammates is that they describe him as an old school Olympic mentality, incredibly disciplined, low ego, process oriented, and willing to grind for years in a sport that doesn't come with fame or financial upside. It's a pure pursuit of excellence kind of story, which makes him a really interesting podcast guest because the lessons go way beyond rowing.
Or we're just all really dumb.
How did AI do?
That was pretty good. Wow.
I think so.
I think you fed it some good input though. That's what.
No, I literally typed in send me a Brett Newlin rower bio while you were zipping up your jacket.
It's good to know the research team is hard at work back there.
I know.
Us friends' research budget is really deep. And we have incredible runners and show talent that's behind the scenes, little elves that do yeoman's work for us. Yeah.
And that's why people pay the big bucks to watch this show.
Yeah. That's advertising. Call me. We got you.
Sponsors rolling in. Abalor, let's go. We got some fans here.
we could do a quick host read for Abalor. We could send it to them right now. Sure. Yeah.
This is
Abalor, single malt whiskey. Tasted by Olympians, drank by Olympians on Olympian podcasts. Get yours today at your fine liquor and
Jack
wine.
is coming off.
Jack is coming off.
But there's still more USA stuff. Man, wow, it never stops.
What happens when you go through processing
twice? A wardrobe change. I never wear any of this stuff, so I'm like, doing it on Fast Friends.
Love it.
You should. Thank you. We appreciate. I can't.
That was a good one.
That's a real one. That's a real
gear.
One. That's some good gear.
We should sell this. This can be yours for whatever.
It's part of the box set with the Abalor whiskey.
How much if you sweat in it?
None. I've never worn it.
Yeah.
Except for the workout on the way to the podcast.
And the way to the podcast. All right. Newlander. With AI aside, jokes aside, I got to say, it's an honor to be here. I don't know. I'm a little confused because I feel like you guys do a lot of vetting and you're like, all right, we got Volp, we got Bo Lumen, we got Matt Schnowberg, we got champions only. Here we go, Fast Friends. And then you're like, you know what? We should get Brett on there. And then I got the invite and I'm like, wait, I don't get it. Why are you inviting the guy that didn't win anything? He's a champion of nothing. And then I got to thinking, I was like, wait a minute. Wait, I did win something.
Yes.
Yes.
You guys got to remember that. Come on.
Of course we do. I actually was looking for the video of it.
Oh,
yes.
Look at
yes.
that.
A gold
glass medal.
A gold glassel. A gold glassel.
And like I was there, and Dan, you were there, and Steve, you were there.
Yeah.
You remember those guys?
That's somewhere. Look at that shaggy beard of Deacon.
And that wasn't even the best picture.
Oh my
the
God.
Picture of us winning, right? Oh man, this one. Steve, front and center. Let's see it.
Block it out, Dan.
There we go.
For everyone just listening to this, bonus content if you watch a YouTube video.
That's right.
But yeah,
you're skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead though, Brett. We got to start at the beginning.
To figure out, the invite. It put me together with some good dudes.
Hey,
but no, it was this little icebreaker. Said it's an honor to be here. I love talking to you guys and hanging out. So.
What did Andre the Giant say? Right, like if we get lost, we got to go back to the beginning. We got to go back to the beginning.
Go.
Right.
You go.
I love that you
say
came
that.
with so many props.
I don't know any Andre the Giant quotes.
That was from Princess Bride, right?
Unless it was from Princess Bride. Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
I'm on the Brute Squad.
You are the Brute Squad.
Didn't you referred to that movie in one of the other podcasts
Always.
too? You're just like Princess Bride. You don't get
Always.
it. You're out.
Yeah.
We've got an Idiocracy in Princess Bride. We might actually get to the interview. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
I don't know what
important part.
I don't want. We got some more props coming at some point.
I mean,
yeah, sure.
I can't
keep
wait.
changing up the wardrobe.
All right.
But
Well,
for now, this is why I'm here. We'll say this.
We'll take that cue and we'll go back to the beginning in true Andre the Giant form.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Trying to take
talk to me. So, talk to me a bit about Wyoming, because I'll be honest, like I've been to Wyoming. I don't know a lot of
nobody
people
knows anything about Wyoming except that if you meet me, I'm the first guy you met who's from Wyoming.
Pretty much.
It's always the first. I'm always the first. It's pretty cool.
Well, you and Twig.
Yeah, Twig.
That's right.
Twig.
Yeah. But you met me first.
No, we had. Well, yeah, I met you second,
right?
But Twig,
right.
I met
in
first,
life, but not in the podcast. Yeah,
True.
Me too. He was good.
So, talk to us a little bit about that, and then
what
I grew up
especially being born, especially being born in a hot air balloon.
Yeah, that's a cool story. I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved to Wyoming when I was in 3rd grade, so I wasn't born, and I wasn't, but I was raised there. Yeah, and it's just a hotbed of rowing. The rowing community out there, everybody knows about it and loves it, and that's why I got to where I got to. So, no, rowing doesn't exist in Wyoming. There's canoeing maybe, but no rowing. So yeah, I grew up doing other sports, just what everybody does: soccer, baseball. I tried baseball, caught a pop fly with my left eye socket when I was doing t-ball, and then I was like, I don't want to play that sport. So my parents were just cycling me through sports until they found something I was good at. And like basketball, it's like, you're tall, you'll be good. And then I had the work ethic, but no coordination, so that was out. I can't jump very high. Football, I didn't even try because I was a noodle growing up. I was super thin and tall, so center of gravity's high. You poke me, I fall over. Yeah, so eventually landed on swimming, and everyone always jokes like, yeah, you'd be good at that. You jump in and you're at the other end. And that was kind of how it worked. So I got pretty good at that. I swam from like 3rd grade all through high school. And it's kind of fun in a little town of Riverton, Wyoming, where I grew up, because there's only 10,000 people there. It's one of the bustling metropolises of Wyoming. Wyoming's got like 500,000. I think our catchphrase is there's more antelope than people in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always like a smaller group of people that I was competing against. And if you're towards the top of that, then it's fun, right? You're beating people, you're towards the top. So it's fun and you keep doing it. So that's what kept me going. I did that in cross country. So I ran. I gravitated to sports where I just point me in a direction and say, beat that guy. And I would go try and do that.
Stopwatch sports.
Stopwatch. Yeah, exactly. So just push yourself as hard as you can. And it worked out more often than not that I was, in the top 3 or 4 or whatever. And it was always fun. You'd get into the medal territory or ribbons for sure every time, because you're competing against people in a 10,000 person town. Compete with the next town you drive. You get in a bus and you drive an hour. So it's you don't do it. You don't get the opportunity to do it as often, just because everything's so spread out in Wyoming. So that was kind of how I grew up with the sports. But as far as the living, I wasn't a cowboy. We lived in the city, if you can call it a city. And yeah, it was pretty laid back, which is why when I moved anywhere when there was a lot of people and everything moved pretty fast, I was like, oh man, you guys need to chill out. Everyone is moving, talking way too fast. Man, I met Marcus McElhenney, and first time he talked to me, I only picked up like every third word. He was talking so fast. But that's kind of where I came from.
That's still the case, though, right?
Like, that's still the case. I'm getting better. You learn to pick it up as you go along. But man, when you're just blindsided with that, you're just like when he takes a breath and he's like waits a second to expect an answer. You're just like, I have no idea what you just said. But it sounded good, man. It sounded good.
So
yeah. That's kind of the background there.
All right, right on. And then what kind of was the attraction? We'll get to this obviously, but you went to Michigan State first before UW, University of Washington. So like, what was the attraction there, right? Obviously,
wasn't. Yeah, sorry. Finish your question.
No, yeah, I mean, great university, huge university. I think the university is probably bigger than your town was. But,
oh yeah, yep. Like 4 times as big. I think there's like 45,000.
I mean, when Lansing's a big city,
yeah. No, there was no attraction at first. I was graduating. I remember my senior year. I had just assumed that I would just go to the University of Wyoming because that's where like most of my friends and classmates were doing. And I remember my dad pulled me aside one day and was like, how about you don't? And I was like, oh, what do you mean? He was like, Wyoming was a great place to grow up. I think you should get out and explore a little bit. And I said, okay. I had got to credit my dad a lot for that advice because I had no aspirations to go anywhere else. I was like, Wyoming's great. I'll just stay here. So I applied for a scholarship to a few different places. I got one from Michigan State, which made it so I was like going there for in-state tuition or something. And I had a cousin who grew up in Michigan, and it turned out he was going to Michigan State too. So it was like, oh, cool. We'll be there at the same time because he's my age. And so I went. I showed up. My parents drove me out, dropped off my Compaq. Remember those? It was Compaq 2. There's like that was the computer system that was out at the time. Oh man.
Yes.
I remember unpacking that, setting it up on the desk, and in my dorm room there, and then parents gave me a hug and were like, okay, we'll see you. And I was like, bam, all right, first time I'm just like all by myself. I know no one except my cousin who happened to live on a dorm on the completely opposite side of campus, as it turned out, which, if you're not familiar with Michigan State, would be a 30-minute walk to get there. So it's not small. So I didn't get over there all that often with the class load and everything. And I was just kind of just trucking along, feeling things out, going to some classes. And I was beginning to miss like the team atmosphere that I had in high school. You're on a swim team, all 4 years of high school, the cross country team. I was doing track too. So there's always people around and they're always competing and it's always fun to hang out with. So I didn't have that immediately at Michigan State anymore. I had the guys in my dorm. That was kind of fun, but it was like they're just there. And it's like, we haven't gone through anything together. We haven't done anything. It's like, what activity can I get involved in? I looked into ultimate frisbee and I was trying to pick sports. I found ultimate frisbee. I'm like, that sounds fun. It's like throwing a frisbee around and running around. And I also around that time, I got a flyer in the dorm mailbox for MSU crew. And I was like, maybe I'll try that too. I've heard about it. I had some cousins who are older than me that lived in South Bend and they went to Purdue and all of them had done crew. It's this, they called it. And so I knew of it. I grew up in Wyoming, didn't know anything, but just the fact that they had done it and I had heard of it. So I'm like, oh, if they can do it, then maybe it's fun and I'll try it. So I went to Ultimate Frisbee meeting and it seemed fun. Seemed like it'd be a good time. And I was looking around, and everyone there was like 5'3" and like really into it. And I was like, I just want to throw a frisbee. Could be cool, but I don't know. And then, so that was in the back of my mind. And then I got the MSU crew flyer, and I went to that meeting. But that meeting was, get yourself to the boathouse. We'll have some vans on campus. Get yourself in a van. We'll take you to the boathouse. And so I went to that. And the very first day, they're like, there's just ergs, just a whole bunch of ergs lined up just in front of the boat bay. And Michigan State's boathouse is just like a corrugated metal building it's next to a river. And all of these ergs were just like on the gravel walkway down to the water. And they introduced us as like, this is a rowing machine, call it the ergometer. The racing distance is 2,000 meters. So we're all going to hop on and we're going to do 2,000 meters. And we're like, oh, all right. So we sat down and we're like, had the handle and we're trying to figure out what to do. And they set up the monitors for us, and everyone said 3, 2, 1, go. And we all started going. And I was like, oh, I'm going to see what I can do here. So I'm a big dude, and apparently being big is good for this sport. So having been fresh off of swimming and cross country in high school, I was in decent shape. But it was still really hard, as it turns out. And at the end, I finished, and I looked around, breathing hard. And I was going to be like, oh man, that was hard. And it was like, everybody's still going. Oh. What is that? Is that bad? Did I break it?
New high score?
Yeah. What does that mean? And the coaches were coming around with their clipboard as everyone was finishing and writing down times. And I remember the assistant coach, shout out Scott Mannock if you're listening. He came by and looked at it and did like a little double take and was like, I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, you just beat my best time. I was like, oh, all right. We just do this and be good, and then that's that. He's like, you should come back. So that was the start of it. It was just a little, initial success like that. I was like, maybe there's potential here. That was really hard, but I'm used to pushing myself, and this group of people, if they also want to push themselves, that's kind of those are my people. So I'll come back and hang out. So that's how that started. It was just a club team there, so you had to pay dues and you had to pay money in order to row. You had to do fundraisers like rent a rower, where basically you just did manual labor for people in the neighborhood, and
so it prepared you for the national team.
Yeah, basically. Basically. Yeah, so I'm good at doing the fundraisers, and that really helps out later on. But that was the start of it. It was really fun in that, like you mentioned, I went to the IRA 5 times. So the first 2 were at Michigan State. The first year was in 2001, and we managed to cobble together a freshman 4. And there were a couple other big dudes. It was also their first year. So we were actually club team. We were kind of competitive. We placed well in a couple races during the season, and we got invited to the IRAs back when club teams could still do it. And we ended up winning the petit final. So we got 7th at the IRAs, which was, well, since Michigan State had never been and had never had a place before, they were like, wow, I think that's good. So that was fun. We went back the next year in the varsity 4, Cox 4, and I think we got 2nd in the petit final, so 8th in that one. And those were the 2 years at Michigan State. Never went after that. And it might have been partly because I transferred out of Michigan State after that.
So yeah,
how did that work?
Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah,
I gotta go back 1 second because there's, it's just really intriguing because the walk on aspect of rowing is just so I love how you finally took the medal off.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Switch hats. Switch medal. Yeah.
Oh, you have a new hat.
All right. New hat. All right.
Mix it up. You know, a lot of people looking at the same thing.
This
is white hat Brett.
It's white hat Brett. the walk on advantage of being able to just kind of go on to the machine and look left and right and be like, oh, I'm big at this, or like I should be good at this. It's just so, and you're kind of, your prefrontal cortex is developed as a young adult at this point. It's like such an advantage to have that optimism and that curiosity at that age. And like you said, to have that initial, like you just beat your coach's score. But Steve does a really good job of reminding me, it's like there's this call to the adventure. And I think that it's like, you weren't going to go to Wyoming, right? Like this whole, to Michigan State, right? You were going to stay in Wyoming in your mind. And so Mick kind of just having this like nudge, right? To be like, and remind me, he was in the military, right?
Yeah. He was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. He was navigator. So he was a flight navigator. So he was Goose, basically, Top Gun. He was behind the pilot, telling him, spotting bogeys and telling him where to go, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so I think, like, to me, like that, just getting to know your dad over the years and never knowing this, right? Never knowing it was literally like, he was like, Maverick. Like, there's a bogey here in Wyoming and I'm glad we raised you here, but
the University of Wyoming, that's dangerous.
He's like, yeah. And you're like, that's right, Dad, I am dangerous. All right, so we got Grandma's Boy, we got Top Gun, we got
Top Gun.
We're not done. We'll keep going.
But that, like, I just want to dig into that a little bit, because it's like, if it wasn't for that nudge, right? If it wasn't for that guidance from your dad to push you onto this course, and I want to reset one more thing, because I do like how our cohort likes to make fun of ourselves and each other. But the fact that, like, you are a 2-time Olympian, right? You were one of the fastest ergs in the country. You like, just to really set the scene of like who Brett Newlin is, and like you are in the pantheon of gods in my world, of absolute monsters. And to know that you almost didn't even take that step is like, it's one of the coolest moments that I've heard yet, of like a father who was Goose, navigator, pilot, had the literal foresight and direction to change your life, and then just seeing how proud he was of you every time we saw it at a race. It's just like, it just really brought back a lot of like nostalgia for me. And I just got to give a shout out to your dad for pushing you in that direction, because
I give him shout outs all the time.
Because like, so I thank you for letting me go on that tangent, but to me, it's really important for the audience to know, like, how you were raised, who you had. Like, your sister also was a pro basketball player for a while.
Yeah.
Right. So, yes, you had the size, and yes, you had the sport, and, Luke was a great swimmer in high school too. So I know that engine really helps to train, and you're looking at that line on the pool, which is no different than the line on, like, the numbers on the machine. But to just know that you got to Michigan and instantly created an environment, a gravitas around you that created a program that's the best it's ever done. I want the audience to know just how powerful of an oarsman you are before we go any further. So thank you for that tangent.
Yeah. A lot of feel good vibes coming from you, Dan. I love it. I love it. I appreciate it. No, it's good to hear. But I've been blessed with people who have given me like positive little nudges in the right direction, because if I get set on one path, I'm like, I'll just work really hard on this one path and things will probably work out. And every once in a while, people will, like you said, have a foresight. They have a different perspective. As I was growing up, I didn't have that perspective growing up in Wyoming. I was like, this has been pretty good. I'll just keep going. And Dad's been around a little bit, so he was like, why? I mean, Wyoming has been great, and now we'll just redirect you somewhere else. Go check someplace else out. You've checked this place out now. So, and I really give him a lot of credit. And Steve, to your question of how I left Michigan State, I need to give my coach there, Scott Travis, a big thank you for that as well. And he's heard this before, but after 2 years at Michigan State, like I said, it's just a club team. So the coach doesn't get paid a whole lot there either. And he was moving on to another opportunity. So he's like, maybe if he had stayed, he would have been a little greedier and kept me on. But since he was also leaving, he recognized that I had some potential and was like, look, you could continue your rowing career here. But there's really nobody coming up that's your caliber that would make like a boat go faster for you, like with you. So I'm out of here. I think you should look into it as well because, and I'll never forget this. He's like, because in 2000, he even said this, because in 2008 you could make the Olympic team. And I was like, what? And I was like, blew my mind. I was like, I was a little incredulous. I was like, all right, coach, you're just blowing sunshine out my ass now. I distinctly remember that. And this was in like 2002, right? So he was like, all right, you'll take 2 more years. You'll transfer somebody somewhere. You'll take 2 more years. And then you'll have 4 years to get ready for the 08 Olympics. Like he's got it all planned out in his mind. And this is the first time I'm hearing it. And it's kind of blowing my mind. So again, he gave me that nudge and was like, go to a varsity program, go find a varsity program where they're going to push you harder than people can push you here. Because I think by the time I had, at that point at Michigan State, I think I got my 2K down to like 603 maybe, which was like the next guy was at like 617. So there was a big parity there. And a fun fact, I think I pulled that at the Elkhart Erg Sprints, which at that Elkhart Erg Sprints, Matt Hughes, Huggy Bear, remember Hughes? He was there at that one, and Jamie Schroeder. They were both there in my age bracket, and and we faced off head to head. We didn't know each other at that point, but that was a cool thing to look back on, and I won that one too. So if I had a championship medal for that, I would wear that. There you go. That's why I'm here.
And Hughes was at University of Michigan, right?
Yeah, University of Michigan, which were our rivals, and they were in every event like way better than us.
And Jamie was
when
at
we like packed that freshman four. Yeah, and Jamie was at Northwestern at the time before he transferred to Stanford. So so that was fun.
So I mean, I gotta imagine it's a little bit like, well, that's really interesting to hear that from your coach, right? Like, I think that's like a big mind blown. Even with a really big erg, it's still like, who, me? Like, for real?
Like, I'll just continue to be good on this team, and it'll be great.
Yeah. So like, where, no pun intended, like, where did you point the boat? Like, were you? Because I mean, look, let's rewind time. It's 2002, right? I think you said. It's not like you can just throw a bat signal out there, right? I mean, obviously, like, yes, if you're pulling a 603 in a big erg competition,
pre-transfer portal,
right? You're getting
no NILs.
Yeah, I mean, it might be on Road 2K or something, or in Rowing News or something like that. But like, there's not this like. It's a bit different, is what I'm saying. As far as like,
there was
the way to communicate. So, yeah, like, did you just start smiling and dialing, or were you like, I want to go here? They have a really successful program. Like, how did you wind up at Washington?
Yeah, well, just rowing, like, Michigan State's in the Big Ten, and so the powerhouse rowing program there is Wisconsin. So I was like, okay, I'll try Wisconsin. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one. Another one was Steve Cornell. I looked at Cornell, and I looked at Washington. So and my coach actually mentioned Washington because that was a West Coast. We had never raced them. I didn't know much about them. So he was like, try them too. I was like, okay. So I tried Wisco first because it was closest and we had raced them before. But yeah, Justin, like you said, there's no like standings, right? There's no like, this guy's the best. rower in the U.S. This guy's the next best. So it was just me calling really suspicious coaches. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you bothering me?
Yeah, and that's really the crux of my question, right?
Yeah.
This guy from Michigan State called me and said he pulls a 603. Yeah, for real? Anybody know him? Like, so yeah.
Like, who's this guy?
So what happened? Was like Fred the only one that listened, or
no? So Fred was a freshman coach at Washington, but I'll go in order.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Chris Clark, right, was the coach there. First time I called him, he gave me that attitude and was like, "Look, I can't talk to you until you fill out this form, right? Because there's some rules you can't talk to another school about transferring if you're already in." Anyway. So I was like, okay. I like tracked down what form it was, got it filled out, got it signed by whoever I needed to get it signed by, faxed it over to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I like waited a week. I didn't hear anything. Oh, and I called him back. I was like, "Hey, this is Brett Newlin again at Michigan State." He's like, "Who?" I faxed over the form like you said. He said, "Yeah, we might have got that. Okay, what do you want?" And it was, I was just kind of put off a little bit. I was like, "Well, I was thinking about transferring." And he's like, "Yeah, all right. Well, we might have like a camp. I can't really look at you until next year." And this was mid 2000, like 2002, 2003 school year had already started. So he's like, "I can't look at you next year." I was like, "Okay, well, maybe I'll talk to you later." I didn't even make a visit out there. So I did go to visit Cornell. Those bunch of guys were pretty fun and looked like they were having a good time. I remember on my recruiting trip, we went out and kind of partied at a house party the night before their Saturday practice or whatever. And when they got up to go to their Saturday morning practice, they didn't take me with them. I was still asleep on the couch, and nobody woke me up to like go to the practice.
So Ken
So
Drakowski left you?
the coach was just like, I can just hear him at practice, like, "Where's the recruit?" And they were like, yeah, we didn't bring him." So I got to see campus and I got to see the boathouse. I didn't get to see him row or got a lunch. But my question was, I'm like, okay, well, I'm at Michigan State. I'm basically going there for in-state. Like, do you have any like scholarships or anything you give out? And he was like, "No. We're not Ivy League. We don't give out scholarships." I was like, okay. I'll be in touch. So finally, Washington rolls around, and I'm not talking to Fred Hohenbein because I'm not a freshman anymore. I'm talking to Bob Ernst.
Bob Ernst, yeah.
Legendary Bob Ernst. And he, right off the bat, was just like, "Yeah, come on out. We'll take you 603. All right, well, we'll see what happens." So I fly out. I meet Matt Deacon at the airport. He was my like guy who was taking me around on my recruiting trip. And this was pre-gold medal Matt Deacon, right? He was trying to make the 04 team at that point. So I'm like, "Oh, you're just like a really good UW rower. That's cool. That's cool. All right." So he takes me around. We go to practice. I'm in the launch with Bob, and I'm just watching. It was what they call a long pair race. They start at one end of Lake Washington, and they were all the way back to the boathouse, which is, I forget how long. It was like 6K or something. And he's telling me, he's like, "These guys are pretty good." He's like, "That's Giuseppe Lanzone right there. He's young, like hot-headed guy, but he'll probably be pretty good." Or Scott Galt, he's still learning, he'll be all right. And I'm like, "All right, that's cool." And he's like, "Well, we can try you out like in the second varsity, see how you do there." And I'm like, "Okay. I mean, you can put me anywhere, but if you've never been to the University of Washington, or watched where they row, it is beautiful, right? You guys know, you've been there, but I was rowing on the Grand River in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan, where they're like dumping. It smelled funny because like there was some kind of factory dumping stuff into the water there. There was all sorts of algae and it stunk. And then when I show up in Seattle and I just see this pristine, like Rowtown, USA, right? It's like made for rowing. And I was just enamored. It was it was amazing. So I was like, well, based off those last 2 visits I did, I think I'm going to come here, Bob. This is great. He's like, all right, we'll get you in. And I remember I said, I went back to Michigan. I'm like, I guess I'm going to Washington. He says I'm going to get in. And this is going to be a mid-year transfer, right? So because it's 2000, like I said, it's the year's already started. So I finished the first quarter or it's semesters at Michigan State. So I finished the first semester, and I go out. Washington has a winter camp at San Diego, right? Every winter, and he's like, "This is where we're going to be. We'll make sure you get into the school, and then just drive down to San Diego. Meet us there." I'm like, oh, okay. He gave me an address, and I remember my dad was like, oh, I'll drive cross country with you. He picked me up in Michigan. We drove across the U.S. We stopped in Riverton, Wyoming, because it's like on the way from Lansing. And I drop him off. He's like, I'll get out here. You got it the rest of the way. And so I just start driving again. I remember getting to San Diego, and in 2002, like it was MapQuest, right? I don't even think Google Maps was out yet.
Yep.
So I had MapQuest directions.
Well, ask Luke, because at this time he had gone cross country 3 times.
Twice,
so,
yeah.
Okay. There you go. MapQuest, right, Luke?
It was printouts of MapQuest. It was like printouts of. Have you not watched the show? I usually listen a lot, and these guys love the sound of their own voice.
You know, out of your shell a little bit.
No, I'm very interested in the guests, not the sound of my own voice. So that's the
bullshit. You love the sound of your own voice. You just save it. You just savor it. You're like, the oracle's time to speak.
Man.
But it is MapQuest and printing out like 3 or 4 sheets that you had to like rifle through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And so I had like a binder. One was from like Michigan State to Riverton, stapled, put that in the binder, and then print out another one from Riverton, San Diego, staple that. And you're like driving along, you're like, what? How was I supposed to take that turn? Anyway, those were the days, you know? You get an atlas or MapQuest, you're on your way.
You got MapQuest in one hand, from cell phone in the other hand.
Yeah, I didn't even have a cell phone at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was pre-cell phone. I think I got a cell phone when I went to. No, I did. I got it the summer of 2002. That was the first cell phone.
All right. So on the drive,
I still got my 307 area code.
Yeah, but the 2800 Olympic Parkway even show up on MapQuest.
Yeah. So it showed up. But again, you guys are probably familiar. I got to Chula Vista, and Chula Vista ended like half a mile off of I-5, right? So it's like after that, it's like it's dark. There's no street lights. It's like you're on a dirt road, and I'm like, I am gonna die out here. I'm lost. I don't know what's happening. Like MapQuest, I'm just putting my full faith in MapQuest right now. It's like, just keep going, dude. I dare you. Because it was before he got built out. Like nowadays, you know, Chula Vista is sprawled out to where the training center is, out to Otay Lakes, and so it's no problem. But yeah, back then, once you got out of like downtown Chula Vista, it was nothing. It was empty. There was no lights, completely dark. And
Olympic Parkway didn't even exist then, right?
No, it didn't at all.
It was Telegraph Canyon, and then you took
Canyon.
that right-hand turn to get down to the training center. There was no Olympic Parkway at that time.
Oh, God. You guys are people. I'm glad.
Yeah, you passed the
I'm
archway.
looking for some, confirmation here, and I'm getting it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, and you're arriving at night, it's like terrifying.
Yeah, it's pitch black. It's in the middle of the night. So I pull up, and I finally see this Arco, right? Arco Training Center. I'm like, all right, I think this is the only place out here. This must be it. I'm stopping here, whether it is or not. And there's a booth. There's a guy there. I'm like, is this the training center, Olympic Training Center? He's like, yes. It's like, is University of Washington here right now? And they said, I believe so. I was like, so I got in, I got checked in. I got me a bed, and I crashed for the night. And I remember next morning I woke up, and I was getting a lot of funny looks, like, who are you? all the rowers who were there, like, I guess Bob told them there might be a new guy coming. But when I actually showed up, they were like, who is this huge dude that just showed up at San Diego out of nowhere? He was not here yesterday. I'm sure of that. So we went down to the boathouse, and Bob just threw me in a boat, and I managed my way through for the week down there. I started to know some of the guys, at least they knew my name by that point, and it was great. And I remember, the week was over, everyone was packing up, loading the boats on the trailer, and everyone was getting in vans to go to the airport. I was like, Bob was like, all right, hey, good work out there. We'll see you in Seattle. So I'm like, okay. I hop in the truck, and I just start driving up I-5 from San Diego, which is, it's basically Mexico. Chula Vista's half mile from Mexico. And I'm going to the northernmost part of Washington, almost.
Half a mile from Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Pretty much.
It's just 22 hours. No big deal.
So I did that. So that was great. But what's funny is I remember before, I think as I was at that camp, I think I got the official notification that I had gotten accepted into the College of Computer Science and Engineering, which was my major at Michigan State. And I remember nonchalantly calling my dad, my parents. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to drive up to Seattle now. Everyone else got on the plane, but I'm good at this point. So MapQuest, San Diego, Seattle. That was an easy one. It's like I-5 forever. Let's do that. But I told him, I'm like, oh yeah, I got into the College of Computer Science and Engineering, so that's all good. And he was like, wait a minute, I thought you said you were in there already. You said you got into school. I was like, well, I got into the university, and then I guess it was a whole separate thing to try and get into the College of Engineering. So my dad almost threw a fit because he was like, what do you mean you're transferring? You weren't even in the college yet. But since I waited to tell him until I was already in it, he let that slide. It was like, I can't believe you transferred to a completely different college, completely different side of the United States, and you weren't even accepted into the college your major was. So he's like, what were you going to do if you didn't get accepted? I was like, yeah, I didn't think that far ahead, Dad.
Just for our audience, too, our research minions, it's 1,200 plus miles between San Diego and Seattle, just to put perspective on.
I think I drove 22 hours straight to get there. It was a long time.
You had to be there for practice. You had to be for practice.
I got to be there for practice the next day, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what do you have in the car? Obviously, there's no CarPlay.
Wait, before that, I had
the shuffle, dude.
It's because it's one. I'm very intrigued at what was it like to go from rowing at Michigan State to UW's winter camp? Because UW is one of the top 3 programs in the country at this point. The names that you dropped, Scott Galt and just Giuseppe, right? Yep. Check out Giuseppe's episode.
Well, Sam Burns,
right? Sam Burns, right? Sam Burns, Kyle Larson, a lot of athletes from that era. Was Ante there too?
Yeah,
at that point, right? Ante, so Croatian Olympian, you have this really stacked. You went from the best guy by a lot at Michigan State with not a lot of experience to Juice, I believe, was the top junior recruit at the time. Scott was a junior recruit from Piedmont.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really intrigued at what was that like when you just hopped into the boat? Was it holy shit, this is rowing, or was it didn't feel I'm just really intrigued about that shift, that culture shift.
Yeah. So, first off, it was amazing just the sheer number of guys, right? There was 4 or 5 8s of dudes down there. And at Michigan State, we're fielding like an 8 and a 4, or maybe 2 8s when everybody decides to show up. So that was amazing. Just seeing how many like guys were there and how many good guys were there. I remember, I wouldn't say I was rowing technique-wise tremendously well at that point, but I just remember just the power difference, right? Michigan State, I was the strongest by far, and at Washington, I was not. So when we would do some sprints or something, or they would tell me, to open it up, that kind of blew my mind. I was like, holy cow, these boats are moving. And that was the biggest thing that struck me. And it was now I was like locked in. I was like, I need to not screw up. I need to keep up with these guys. I need to make sure I'm not catching any crabs, because I mean, these guys, and just the sound too, because when you practice as much as Washington does, because they're a varsity program, you get better a lot quicker. At Michigan State, it's club. You practice once in the morning before classes, and that's it. When you're in Washington, where it's more ingrained in your daily life, where you're doing you're doing 2 practices a day, maybe you're doing weights. In addition, the boathouse is always right there. It's right on campus, where at Michigan State, you had to get in a van and drive 20 minutes to get to the boathouse. There's just a lot more opportunities to train, and just the sound of everybody coming out of the water together, just the doom. That was one sound. It wasn't like a click-a-clack, click-a-clack, clack. I was like, wow, that was sharp. And then I would come on the recovery, and like, I was like, I'm not touching the water. That was cool.
It's quiet.
I was like, wow. I mean, and not to say that, by mid-season Michigan State, it was better, right? It wasn't that bad. Shout out to Michigan State. Scott McIsaac, Micah Bushhouse, Moderate Dave Segerland, Eric Dayrell, H. We got John Lambrix. Anyway, these guys, Bob Brady, bunch of good guys. I'm still friends with them to this day. But yeah, this is a different echelon. So from the first stroke at Washington, it was pretty amazing. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. I want more of that, and I feel like I was just in the boat for that training camp and like learning as much as I could. And I was determined. I was like, I want to be, because one of my biggest motivations was, especially when I got rowing with guys that were as good or better than me, was I'm a big guy. I don't want to be the big guy who's an anchor, because that's a pitfall that some big guys, who try rowing end up doing, right? They're super strong, but they can't get it together technique wise. They can't match, and then you're just this big heavy dude that's and you're just making it heavy for everybody else. And that was my biggest fear, especially at that camp. Was like I was hot shit at that other place, and I'm not anymore. But I want to add to these boats, because this is fun. These are going fast. So that was my big motivation once I got there. And I remember once I got to practice at Washington, they had the erg records on the wall, and I took a glance at those, and I'm seeing like Sam Burns going 5:56, and sub 6 was just like out of this world for me. I was like, I've never seen that ever. Like, and I'm seeing multiple guys under 6, in the 5:50s. I couldn't believe. I'm like, all right, that's my new mark. I guess I got to hit that now. So yeah, there was just rowing with people that were better than you is tremendous in making you get better as fast as possible. And that was really the culture there, and what I bought into. So yeah, and I remember the first race we went to, they handed me money. I was like, what is this? This is per diem. You don't know what per diem is? I was like, who do I give this to? And they're like, no, that's yours. You do what you want with it. I was like, why are you giving me this? When are we doing the rent-a-rowers? When do we have to do manual labor? It's just like, you don't have to pay to row here. You're in. We're giving you a scholarship and we're giving you money. I was like, ugh. Like if I wasn't sold before, I am now. This is incredible.
Meanwhile, every time you call your dad, no, I'm in now. And I have a scholarship. Yeah, and I have a scholarship.
Yeah, I got a scholarship, and they're giving me money.
I'm getting paid, Dad. I'm getting paid.
They just slapped a $20 bill in my hand. I'm like, what is this?
Dude, thank you for that perspective, because it's I think the really interesting thing about sport in general is that it gives you all these different opportunities to kind of test yourself, but you can only test yourself to the limit of the environment you're in. And, you know, your journey already so far is like hearing it from this perspective and this nostalgia standpoint is really, it's captivating in the way that you've approached all these different levels with that Newlin sense of humility, but then that Newlin sense of like, oh, I'm going to get it. Right. Like, to your point is like, once you get dialed into something, you're just going to be good at it. And to see you go back through that, and truly, it must have been phenomenal to get into a boat that felt that much faster. Like I can't remember that feeling. Like I can't remember that feeling. And you just took me back to that, where it's like, when you get into a boat for the first time, that's just, you're just trying to hold on for dear life. There's nothing better. It's I think it's the closest a human can get to flying.
Yeah. Yeah, it made an impact for sure. Yeah, and when you get that swing and that coast, when you come out of the recovery and it's just singing, it's silence. And it's just the boat moving like a ninja, right? Just through the water, you don't hear anything. The less noise you hear in the boat, the better, right? If you're tapping, you're scraping, that's not good. So the fact that you're just it's so quiet, you just hear like the little trickle, like the little wavelets of water running by the boat, and it's just a quiet little trickle. And when you hear that, and you know the boat's singing, and yeah, when I got that for the first time, it was something. So yeah, and so yeah, you put it great. I kind of took steps. Like you said, a lot of you guys were rowing in high school, so you already knew about it. You had been doing it a long time. And when you got to college, it was like, all right, this is next level, right? We're just with older guys and stronger guys. But I had never done it before, and I started at kind of an incubator at Michigan State, I would call it, where I got to play around and make some good friends and have some fun, have a little bit of success, and kind of feel like I'm top dog. I was like, that was great. You know, I was like a big fish in a little pond. And then I took the next step, and there was another echelon to go, another level up to go. And so I was always trying to do more. And so it was always fun because I was always trying to improve. And there was always somebody, like somebody way better, some time I needed to get, some time, some boat speed I was trying to find. So I was never bored, and you're with great guys the entire time. It was don't get me wrong, it was a lot of hard work. Rowing is a grind, you guys all know, but the grind isn't what you remember afterwards. You remember what it felt like when the boat was swinging. You remember a lot of times when you weren't in the boat and you're just having fun with the guys, that would, give their blood, sweat, and tears to get that boat across the finish line faster than the other guys with you. So just the amount of trust you build with the guys there, and the camaraderie and just the shared experience, it's something special. I've been trying to find that, since, and it's definitely harder. It's not as automatic, right? You meet folks and they're great, they're nice, and you find things in common, but you haven't been through things together. Like like rowing and a team sport. So it's kind of like nowadays it's like you have a lot of kids, I have a lot of kids. I see you. We're going through raising kids right now. All the sporting events were like, our kids, right? Am I right? We're doing it. We're raising those kids. So I think that's the closest thing right now to camaraderie in like my stage of life. And you guys are there. I get to have that with you, and I also had to pass stuff with you too. So it just makes it even cooler. So which is why we needed to get these rowing reunions. I missed you guys afterwards. Had the rowing reunions. I organized over 10 years, and I'm kind of letting it just be organic. So we'll see what happens.
So talk to us real quick. Just bring us fast forward a little bit. Like, you talked a little bit about kind of showing up in San Diego, kind of like as the who is this guy that just entered the chat. But then how did you find yourself in the varsity at Washington? How did you go from like, hey, I was trying not to be an anchor and I just showed up, in San Diego, to like, okay, you mentioned like, all right, new goalposts have been set. Like I see the numbers on the wall. Like, okay, cool. I have a new rabbit to chase. But that's easier said than done, by the way, as the audience hopefully will know. But yeah, just how did you wind up finding yourself in the varsity, and take us on that, kind of rewind for a sec.
Sure. Yeah, I I took it as a challenge when Bob said that to me. He was just when I was on my recruiting trip, and he said, we'll probably put you in the second varsity. That'd be a good spot for you. And I was like, okay. I've never been in the second varsity. I don't know if I like the sound of that. So yeah, I was like, challenge accepted. So yeah, I just got to work, and just again, the sheer number of practices that I was doing, and it was so accessible. You just the computer science and engineering building, which was where I spent the rest of my time when I wasn't rowing, is about a 5-minute walk.
And the
RAM, yes, the RAM. Rest in peace, RAM. That was our weekend haunt. They serve these 1-pound burgers and these like 32-ounce mugs of beer. And on Sundays after 10 o'clock, the beers were $1. Is that right? Or no, half price. So they were like super cheap. And my motto was 3 big beers at the RAM before an erg test is secret to success.
96 ounces of beer for the erg test.
Yeah, it was got a carbo load for that thing,
Okay. Your mileage may vary depending on your genetics.
Right. But strangely enough, it kind of held true more often than not. I think for the 2K, I wouldn't do that. But for the 10Ks and 6K tests, I was like, this is going to help. But yeah, I just got to work. And I slowly started moving up. I think the first thing I did was the erg score. I saw that number. I'm like, I'm going to get this down. I thought 603 was amazing in Michigan State. I didn't know I could go that much further down, the mid to low 550s. So that was my next marker. And we had several, erg workouts and erg tests, obviously, during the year. And I started establishing myself as one of the stronger top guys on the ergs. And I think I got to the point where I was I was almost matching Sam Burns. He was like my marker because he was like the guy on the erg at that time. So yeah, Bob was like, all right, this guy's really going for it. He put me in the varsity, and I didn't make it go slower. So he kept me in it. So yeah, in the 2003 at the IRAs, we got second to Harvard, because Harvard decided to come back for the first time ever, like that year. And I was pretty happy. I was like, man, silver medal to IRS, that's way better than winning the petit final. But I remember looking up and down the boat, and like everyone was super bummed. I was like, God, silver's pretty good, right? I was like, I've never been even in a grand final before. And I was just like, God, dang it, I wanted to get gold. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that would have been better. You're right.
Yeah, go. First is better than second. Second's better than third.
Just me,
third's
just
better
like,
than fourth.
Yeah. It was just me happy to be there. I'm like, man, I got into the varsity, and then we went to the IRA and got silver. That was pretty good. But yeah, from the perspective of those guys, because I believe, I know the year before, the Washington freshmen had won. They had won gold, right? And Giuseppe was in that boat, Scott Dalton. They were like super pumped. They're like, we're just going to win everything from now on. So they were coming from a different perspective than I was. So I distinctly remember the disparity in our emotions at the end of that race. But yeah, it was a great experience being able to just get to that point that first year. And after that, I kept going, right? I got respect from the other guys that were there. That's really what I was going for, right? I mean, you want to try and impress the coach in the best boat, but you want the respect of the other guys in that boat, or else it's not going to work. So I worked on that too. So I mean, I'm best friends with some of the guys, obviously still in that boat. So that was basically how that worked, and it worked out. And I kept liking it, kept liking the guys. So I said, let's do this again next year for the full year, because I was only from January until May that I was doing that.
It's incredible. So in that short 6 months, I mean, you go from Michigan, you are now to San Diego, you feel the speed, you start bringing the erg score down, you get to race it like Windermere Cup. Did you make the varsity for Windermere?
Yeah.
Right. So you get that, so you get that type of experience. Can you like
Windermere Cup is something else. I think they like invited the like Italian national team or something that year, I think.
Yeah. And, so like, and the crowd, and there's just crowds roaring up and down, and
there's just boats lined up along the whole cut along this log boom. And again, that was something I had never seen before. Because Michigan State, nobody really knows about it or cares. Washington like lives rowing. And Windermere Cup is obviously coincides with like the opening day of yacht season or boat season. So all the boats are out and they get to watch you get raced out. And I remember after finishing, just like people cheering and just like throwing beer cans at you. They're like, yeah, good job. Just cracking them open in the boat on their row back.
Well, and I think it's part of it's interesting, and we'll let Luke listen to the sound of his own voice. But to me, it's always really nice when we have a Cal Washington cohort on the show, because the other part too is that you got to
I'm supposed to hate you.
Yeah,
you're supposed to.
But dang it.
But I would love to.
Thing, like I transferred into the hate. I wasn't born with it. I transferred into it, so it's not as like a deep-seated thing with me.
It's a grafted.
Yeah, it's been grafted onto me, so it's there. But I can defeat it at certain points. I can be like, Luke, you're cool. I like you.
But I mean, Newlin, you hide your competitive. I don't want to say you hide it, but your competitiveness is so deep rooted, and I think it's really driven in self improvement. But there's the other part that, to me, is just experiencing this from your and Luke's perspective of that Cal Washington duel, right? And like we have the pop culture moment of Boys in the Boat, we have the book, and there's so much that's written about the University of Washington. There's so much written about the cut, that environment, and from your two guys' perspective, it is one of the few duels that I think has this fanfare and this observation by the general audience, right? Like just people that come out to see this rowing, and that competitiveness between those two West Coast schools is what creates it and the legacy. And I think I'd love to hear your perspective, Brett, of like what that was like to like that Cal duel and the Pac-12s and like going to the IRA, like just in juxtaposition against Luke's, where you didn't race against each other, but that is something that is just so powerful, and that's not necessarily on the East Coast. I'd love to hear what that was like for you to have that kind of that thrill over the next, not necessarily your first year, but like over the next 3 years, you went to 3 more IRAs and the national team comes in, but that competitive drive basically got Miracle-Gro in that environment, and how that duel, the Pac-12, the IRA just grew you into the national team oarsman that you were eventually going to become.
Yeah. That was not something I expected going to Washington. I was just like, this is just a good program and we're just going to race and try and beat people. But the rivalry was, I guess, something new that was thrust upon me. I was like, they were like, you need to hate California. I was like, oh, okay. I hate them. It's like, all right, well, whatever it takes. But I remember going to that Cal duel that first year in 2003. I forget, but I didn't know the history behind it, but I don't think Washington had won for like the last several years. Like I think Cal had been pretty dominant up until that point. So I was like, okay, these guys are good, so we just gotta try and be gooder. I was like literally just told, I was like, you need to hate them. I was like, and I remember thinking, okay, why do we hate them? Just do it. Just do it, because we try and beat each other all the time, and they're like the only like other super powerhouse out here. So when you have two satellites that are that big and orbiting each other, they clash pretty hard when they meet. So I was like, okay, I'm in. I want to beat these guys. And we did. We ended up winning, and I was happy. Other guys were ecstatic. I was like, all right, I need to buy in more to this rivalry, because I was just happy to beat them. They are like happy to stomp them. They want to like rub it in. They want to show the medal. They want to take their jerseys. It's like, wow, okay, this is pretty intense. So yeah, that was something we didn't have anywhere else, because we weren't good enough to have a rivalry. If we did at Michigan State, it was Michigan, but Michigan was like way better. It wasn't like a rivalry. So yeah, it was fun. It added another incentive, right? It's like not only win the race, but you win bragging rights for the entire year, or leading into Pac-10s and then the IRA. So it's like that's the first step. When it's just a duel, just you guys head to head, right? You can really mess with each other's minds a little bit, stare them down. Everyone knows like this is it, mano a mano. So that was interesting. We never had any dual races at Michigan State. It was always just a bunch of boats go race. So yeah, it was a little like extra icing, extra adrenaline for that kind of race. And again, like I said, I wasn't born and bred into it, so I don't know if I ever got as much into it, because I wasn't a freshman there. If I had been a freshman, and that's the running joke too, because Fred has had. He's started, we call it Fred Fest. And it started like 3.5 years ago was the first one. It's like Fred Fest. We're going to get all the guys back together that rode during Fred's era for Fred. I was like, and it's like all the guys that I rode with, but I didn't row with him as a freshman. So the running guy is like, Fred was like, invite all the guys that rode for me. And then like and the email was like, P.S. someone invite Newlin too.
So do you not have a hair pillow at Washington?
I do, but that's because they just put us through the Grunny initiation the year I got there. So it was me and one other guy, Gintz Salix, who had transferred from Orange Coast. So it was the two of us. We shaved our head with the Grunnies that year. We weren't their class, so it wasn't like we went through it, but it wasn't really with the freshmen, because they had their own thing going, their own camaraderie. So it was interesting that I got to experience it, but not at the depth that some of the other guys who were there from the beginning got to. I always feel like I was a little bit apart, a little bit different. But I thought that was maybe a good thing, just to add some perspective to everyone if they got too down or too high, or she's like, look, it's good. We're just win. That's what's important.
I know I've been on that side of the Newlin effect many of times when the competitive drive got a little intense.
So wait, I got a question.
Oh, Steve's gonna talk.
Wait. And then I want to jump us forward.
Luke was about to say something.
No, I want to jump us forward, but
go.
Question.
No, Luke's gonna start putting on Washington shirts for the rest, like you're putting on USA shirts.
Yeah. I remember I won this.
You want to see my drawer? You want to see my drawer full?
Hold on. I'm gonna be right back. Hold on.
But it's out of here comes a Cal jersey's coming out. That's for sure where he's going.
I hope you have yours handy.
I don't have mine handy right now, but I do have them separated from all the other shirts. There's a bag of 16 Washington jerseys. Yes.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. Just subtle bomb drop. 16 Washington shirts.
Like all the shirts or jerseys I won, like
quilt.
While I was drawing, my mom made into a quilt.
That's very Wyoming.
Let's go.
There it is.
Solid.
There it is.
Yeah, Luke has 16 Washington shirts, but only one Cal one.
Yeah.
I was born.
Did you see the Northeastern one on there, Dan?
Yes.
Good stuff.
But
So
I
thanks,
was
Mom.
born into that hatred, right? It was we were taught from freshman year that, beat Washington. It was extremely important part of it. But I think, as I look back, you hated Washington, but damn, you respected them because they were good. Really, really good. And I think that's what makes the Cal-Washington rivalry so compelling, is that rarely is it not competitive. Rarely is it not driven all the way down the course multiple times in a year. Not just the duel, but also at the national championships. And so for me, yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, that's Washington. We hate them, but it was to beat Washington was to beat an extremely great opponent, making it that much more important, right? It was so vitally important, and I also think, what's that?
Felt that much better.
Yeah,
like when you're beating class, man, it feels good,
right? And so. But I also think that, that rivalry is something that keeps Cal and Washington showing up to the national championships every year, competing for medals and competing for the title.
Yeah,
and because of those early season meets. So, it was a very important part of the process. And yeah, all these years on, like, I know all sorts of guys from Washington. I'm supposed to hate you guys. I'm supposed to. It comes up every now and again. I get, I see some posts from Washington rowers about how things have turned out in certain races. I don't like seeing it on social media. That doesn't make me happy. It's not helpful. And so that really never leaves you. But, as you continue, and especially for all of us who, when you go on and you end up racing with guys from these rival teams in U23s or in the senior team or the Olympic team, it evolves a bit, but you always kind of go back to where that sort of underlying undertone, the undercurrent of it all. But rivalry, I think, is super important in sport, super important, and valuable. And it's super helpful when it is, class opponents. And in my time at Cal, we went up against some very, very strong Washington crews. So, that again, I think the value of that competition is much higher when it's just faster, stronger, better crews that are dusting it up down the course.
That's how I feel with Harvard guys, where it's like I love hanging out with Bloomquist, but you get like 2 or 3 more of them in the room and you start looking around and you're like,
too much.
That's why. Right? Like one-on-one, we can be friends.
Backed against the wall.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to get Bloomquist on the show so he can answer to this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm sure he feels the same.
Probably
does. So Brett, at what point did they tell you? Because you just showed up, right? Bob was like, "Oh yeah, just show up," right? And you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
At what point were they like, "So turns out you got 3 years. We know you did 2 years already. Turns out you got 3 more."
I actually approached Bob with that after the 4th IRA I had been to. Bob pulled me in his office because it was like my 4th year of college, and it was at the beginning. I was trying to see like maybe I could have a really tough course load because not all of my credits had transferred from Michigan State. So I was like either looking for like a loaded 4th year and finishing in 4 years, or maybe I'd have to go some time for a 5th year, like another quarter or something. And Bob pulled me into his office and was like, "So what do you think about rowing next year?" I was like, "Well, I don't think I can. I've already rowed at the IRA 4 times." He was like, "Yeah, those first 2 years didn't count." I was like, "Wait, why is that club team? Those don't count. Those are like redshirting you. Well, it doesn't matter. It's fine." I was like, "Are you sure? Okay." I was gonna try and just finish this year, but he was like, "How about you just don't, and you take a really easy 5th year?" I was like, "And we'll pay. You'll be covered. You'll be full ride for your last year." I was like, "Done."
Oof! You drive a hard bargain there, Coach.
Hard bargain, but okay. So that's what I did. I took like a normal first quarter. The second quarter, because the way eligibility works is you have to take like a full credits, right, or full course load for the quarter prior to your last competing quarter. So I took a normal quarter, my first quarter. The second quarter, I didn't take any classes. I got a job. So there was a co-op program where you could like go out and intern for a company, and it would count as full credit, right, for the semester. So I did that, and I was getting paid. So I was rowing. I wasn't taking any class, and I was just going in to work a little bit every day. I was doing some of the work from just my apartment and some at this company in Everett called Virtual DSP. Steve Dame, if you're watching, he was my boss. He's awesome. He put this whole thing together for me so I could work. So I was using my degree, taking 0 classes and just rowing and getting paid. So I had money for like the first time in this ever. It was pretty amazing. Even my teammates were like, "What? All right, what are you doing?" He's like, "You're just working?" I was like, "Yeah, no class, working."
That's called Northeastern. That's called Northeastern.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I did that, and then the last quarter, I only had 1 class. It was an easy one. I didn't have to take a full course load because your eligibility is the previous quarter, and I was going to graduate anyway. So yeah, it was a super easy year. I rowed that 5th year at the IRAs, 1 of 1, and I don't regret it at all. It's fantastic because knowing what I know now with those guys in 04, there's no way I was going to break into that. They had something special going on. And from the time, like, they just wouldn't have had enough time running up to the Olympics just because of the schedule that they were on and all the sea racing they were doing. I would have like missed all that. And just to like inject me in that and be like, good luck. I mean, who knows? No, let's just say no. For my sanity, that would never have worked out. Those guys did fine without me, let's say. So, yeah. So I think I remember me and Sam Burns, we went there like the summer after the 04. Sorry, leading up to the 04 Olympics. They had the world champions. You still have the world champion, non-Olympic worlds, right? So we had tried out. Mike was like, "Come on out. We'll throw you in a Cox pair, see how it does." It's the first time either of us had been in a Cox pair, and we were like, "This is the heaviest boat in the world." and we did a time trial against Dan Beery, and I forget who his pair partner was, but they smoked us.
Was this 03? So was this 03? If this was 03, it was Matt.
Dana?
No, Dana was 02. They got silver. It was Matt Rich. Him and Matt
was
Rich.
It Matt Rich? Well, yeah. No. Oh, it was 04, non-Olympic Worlds. Or no. He went to Olympic. Yeah, it must have been 03. Yeah, Matt Rich. So we tried out that. Didn't work out. But I remember I was at AQ because they put us up there at the time. And I remember Sam had gone, like, Mike wanted to talk to him. He walked back into the Aquinas. I'm like, what's the deal? It was just like, we're going home. High-fived me, and we shotgunned some beers and called it a summer.
Not much has changed between you and Sam.
That's
I remember meeting you guys at that Italian restaurant with the fountain at the and at the end of that, and be like, you guys coming back? We're like, yeah, we're gonna totally come back. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Just not great. Not this next year. We'll be back.
So the Cox pair, the famous leg sled, is your first entry into the national team. And and you went back and did that last year at Washington.
Yep.
And so that takes us to the June of 2005. You finish the IRA and you come to the Princeton Training Center. And take us a little bit
now
through.
It's like we got the invite from Mike, right? So me, Sam,
hey, come
so you hopped in. So you hopped in the car.
It'd be great.
So you hopped in the car.
Drove out to Princeton from Washington. So at this point,
what kind of head unit did you have in there? Was it still like the tape? Was it still like the tape in there, and you're just playing off a CD? Or
did it have detachable face?
Yeah,
FM tuner.
Yeah,
was it FM tuner? FM tuner.
Was it 100%?
And it still worked great.
Was it 100%? You just rolled through the radio stations on the way across the country, or?
And I had cassettes. Cassette tapes.
We had cassettes.
That still worked. Everything worked in there. It's fantastic. And the AC. So I'm like, that's all I need. We rolled out. We got the invite. We were like, I don't really want to get a job yet, so let's try this thing. Yeah, we rolled out to Princeton in 2005. And at that point, we were all in. We were like, okay, Olympics are done. Those guys did awesome. Some of them are coming back, and we get to like look up to and row with all of those guys. So that's another step, right? So I did Michigan State. I did Washington. Next step, national team. And you're rowing with guys that have just won a gold medal at the Olympics. I'm like, okay, next step. Now these are the guys to beat. So again, it was just another, like you said, another carrot for you to try and get. And oh man, it was so much fun because you didn't have any school anymore. So it was just the rowing, which is, don't get me wrong, always a grind, multiple practices a day, super tired all the time. But when you get a half a day off or a day off and you have to spend some time off the water with the guys, amazing. You have so much energy, you have so much fun. And this is what you're doing day in and day out. This is your job. You're living in a church, so you're not paying rent. So shout out to Father Tom Malelli, leader of the Aquinas Institute in Princeton. Come on. So we were just a bunch of guys rowing in boats, trying to beat each other in Princeton, another new place that, I hadn't experienced that much. East Coast was new to me. I had gone to Michigan. I'm from Wyoming, born in California, college in Washington, but East Coast was like someplace every time I had like taken a trip to East Coast, just the humidity. I was like, oh,
new kind of heat.
What is that? I feel like I'm drowning and I'm just standing here on the sidewalk.
Why am I still wet? I just got out of the shower and I toweled off. Why am I
in the shade? I should be cool and dry. What is happening? So yeah, it was something new and exciting, and you're rolling with all these fun guys that are pushing you. And so yeah, we got out there. We graduated 2005, got out there in time to make the 2005 World Championship. So I was in the Cox 4. You see that poster right there is from Gifu, Japan.
That's right, baby.
we ended up getting silver at the World Championships. And so, yeah, Pat Sullivan, me, Matt Hughes, and Troy Kepper throwing it down in the cox for, and Marcus was the coxswain. So jabbering away up there, just getting across the line.
Yeah, I think there's three really important things for the audience to know about that Gifu World Championships. One, the U.S. tried to double up in the 8. Steve was in that 8 that won the World Championship, so they won the Olympics, win worlds in the 8. The 4 did pretty well, and Deacon, the monster that he was, still raced it with a hurt back, and
he had a herniated disc or something.
Made the final, wins the World Championships. It was a really fast course because there were typhoons coming through all the time.
Yeah, there was current, so they negated any world records.
Yeah, but it was super fast. And that's where I learned that Brett Newlin can sing, because it was the first and only time other than the Olympics where we had a time. We did not fly out at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning after the finals were over, and we were staying there, and we had pooled our money together at the hotel to get the hotel to give us a karaoke machine. And Sharon Kriz, if you're watching this episode, she still tells the story of Matt Hughes beatboxing, you doing Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby's Got Back, and me shaking my ass like a stripper, as she says, to the whole entire song to win the impromptu karaoke talent show.
And that was magical. That was the first time I had ever done it too. So that was the start. There was no practice. Like, it was not a thing I was known for previously, because I had never done it before. But I had listened to the song enough. I'm like, I think I can get through that. But I'm like, they don't have it on the karaoke machine. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have Baby Got Back on Japanese karaoke machine? Come on. So Matt had to be the beat. He beatboxed the whole thing, because they were like, I remember they were like wheeling the karaoke machine out. We were like, no, bring it back. It's not closed yet. We live here. And he started beatboxing, and the words, I managed to get most of the words right. And it was so fun. And I remember just having a great time. And afterwards, I remember looking out, standing ovation. Like, people were just like loving it. Oh, man. And that was the beginning. I've sing it at everybody's weddings now. Scott Gall, was his best man. I gave my best man speech with the Baby Got Back beat behind. I changed the words to fit the scene. Yeah, man. That was my origin story right there.
Yeah. So your first senior team, you get a silver medal. You've become a karaoke king. What made you feel like there was more to go? Because I think the interesting thing for the younger audience, if they do exist, or people that are trying to aspire to make the national team, like, we really try to show what the path is like and how timeless it is. And we've got to interview people from multiple generations from the Olympics, and it's really amazing, the through line. Like, it is a timeless endeavor to manifest the human spirit in a way, and rowing specifically, because so much of it relies on you to do more for the people in your boat than yourself. And that Cox 4 is it's a training ground, and at the time it was a non-Olympic event. And they were starting to have, it was starting to thin out because it was a non-Olympic event, so not as many teams were. So where did you feel that there was still this next level to go to? Because in 2006, another, kind of 101 is you make that straight 4, and you guys have to re-row. And I think, like, I think to me, that's one where, at the world championship level, to have to go through that, and plus you ruin Mahi Drysdale and Eric Murphy. Was it Eric Murray or
Hamish Bond and Eric Murray?
Yeah. And I think that
we had a hat change. We're not at
Clemson yet.
No.
We're not there yet.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, but it's just like, the more that I reflect on the being an observer of my teammate is like, so now you go through this, you make the straight four, which is a priority boat with Bloomquist, match Snowbrick, and the Birdman.
Yeah.
And you get to Worlds and you got to do this re-row thing. So like, take us a little bit through that, because that's a harrowing adventure right there.
Yeah, I didn't handle the news of that well. I remember. Yeah, so to set the scene, it was our semi, and we were, let me see, I guess we had to have been third in the semi. And we tied exactly with New Zealand, who had, like you said, Eric Murray and Hamish Bond, like two best rowers ever in the pair, who just never lost once. Just amazing. But when they were in the four, they were vulnerable. So yeah, we ended up racing, and that semifinal, we tied them exactly. The photo could not distinguish our bow balls. One guy ahead of the other. So when I heard that news, I was like, okay. So yeah, Mike came up to me and was like, it was a tie. I was like, what does that mean? It's like, there's going to be a re-row. I was like, really? Okay. In 2 hours. I was like, are you kidding me? And he was like, Mike, like that triggered Mike. He was like, no, get your head of the game. We're re-rowing in 2 hours. I was like, okay. I didn't say the right thing. I just said what was in my brain. Like, are you effing kidding me?
And you're stroking, right?
Yeah, I'm stroking a four.
Yeah,
so, oh my God,
6'9" stroke, right? Like for all the rowing nerds out there, like that's how good and athletic Brett is at rowing. Is that at 6'9" he can stroke a straight four.
Or I just suck so much I can't follow anybody else. But I think it is good. If somebody has to follow me, that means they have to row longer, right? Because if I try and follow somebody short who rows shorter than me, I'm going to be spinning my wheels a little bit. This big body is going to get tired quicker, and the boat's going to sag a little bit. So, I mean, some of that I think was okay. I set a good pace, but also I was long. If you could just reach a little longer, get a little longer with me, and you'll enable me to use my full capacity. So that was part of that. But yeah, so we raced, we tied. 2 hours later, like I just like laid down. I tried to not move, drink water, Gatorade or whatever, power bars for 2 hours. We lined up, and thanks. We'll give credit to the Washington-Cal rivalry, because this was just a head-to-head. It was a duel. It was a USA-New Zealand duel. And I had some experience with duels before. So, yeah, we lined up, and when in a duel race, it's a huge advantage if you can blast out and get an immediate lead, because the other person will be like, damn it, I'm down. I already have to work harder just to get even to pass these people. So that was our game plan, which was our game plan for every race anyway. So it worked out. And we got in front, and basically any move they tried to make, we're like, they're moving, go, power 10. And we just kept doing that basically down the whole course. We managed to stay in front of them. I think it was like a boat length. And that was the most tired I've ever been in my life. That after that race, I collapsed. I was just like done, completely done. Nobody should have to row 2Ks within 2 hours full out the whole way. That was incredible. I think they've changed the rules because of that.
Well, the only reason why you had to do that was because they couldn't run a 7th lane.
They didn't have a 7-lane final.
The course wasn't finished yet.
Eaton wasn't finished yet. Yep.
Right, because they didn't have the warm up area wasn't finished, so that all of the extra lanes were the warm up area.
Yeah, I hope nobody should have to do that. They should just, if they can run the 7-boat final, just do it. That's ridiculous.
It's not allowed. Well, now like world championships have to have like 10 lanes now
for warm-ups and everything.
Or just for the courses. So
they were still digging it out, right? It was it was pristine for the Olympics.
Do you remember that Eaton? Eaton College owns it, and then like World Rowing was like, yeah, we'd like to have the start system, like the boot and everything. And they were like, yeah, no, we don't want the generator on site.
Only you would know that, Steve.
The high school, the high school was like, yeah, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, it's like a hoity-toity like elite high school over there, right? Man, but yeah, so that was. I'm glad we won, but it showed because New Zealand went to the B final, right? And they were just out the back door in the last 500 because they were completely spent from just having to do 2Ks before. And same thing happened to us. We were in second or third place going into the last 500 and just completely ran out of steam. We ended up fourth. And there was nothing. I remember my arms. I'm like, my brain was like, come on, arms and legs, do something. And they were like, yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. You try it, brain. I remember Josh was behind you. We were all so desperate and feeling it so terribly. And he just made a call. He was just like, go. Win. And we were like, we got trying, Josh. We're trying to win. And we felt like literally like our limbs had just been shot up with Novocaine or something, and we're like couldn't feel any. It was the weirdest feeling, and I couldn't move. It was like the last 20 strokes of the race. That's when we lost it too. It was painful, but it was a learning experience. We'll call it that.
I tried to do that to Bo that summer too. Bo, let's go in the pair, and he turned around and goes, "Go where?
Where's?"
Just so like there they go, and I'm like, where'd who go?
But I think this is really key because I think it shows one just the margin of how everything has to go right to get to the podium at that level. Right, it's at the exponential curve of the sport, and you talk about the names that are in that boat, that were in the boat with you, like Snowbrick, Josh, Bloomer, everybody in that boat eventually has an international medal from the Worlds or the Olympics. You talk about the greatest, the greatest pair ever, the Kiwis. We don't even start to mention the boat that won was the Britch with Andy Hodge and Pete Reed that had, the depth of competition, right? The depth of competition. And the straight four is just such a monster of an event because every country can put together a four. And I think that it's really important for the audience to know that whether you're a rowing fan or just a sports fan of the sheer amount of will and effort it takes to be in that position, to be completely fatigued, to have a disadvantage, and to still hear that in your minds, your guys are like, no, we're going to go. We're going to, even though there's nothing, we know there's nothing left, obviously we're going to go. And that Eaton race for all of us, because you got in training, you guys were fast enough to win, and the 8 was fast enough to win, and we didn't do as well as we wanted. Mm-hmm. And that does lead into what I think is one of the best falls of my life, other than getting married, is the revenge tour of 2006, because that was the year that we went. They had the medal out earlier, the Ian Hansa Cup.
Where's my hat?
Justin, this might be fun for you because Luke, you've raced the Hansa Cup, right, Luke? Right? Yeah. Didn't you guys? You won it with Cambridge that year, or no? Were you not in the boat that year?
I raced it with
the U.S.
team, and we lost to the Germans.
Yeah. Okay. Because Cambridge won one year, but so
I was in 2005.
Yeah, we were.
That was my first year at the Hansa Cup. God, can we give shout out to Flo? Liaison in Rendsburg, Germany. Come on, Flo.
Justin, have we ever told you about the Jan Hansa Cup?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
so just 12.7 kilometers of sheer pain.
Yeah,
but down to shipping canal in Rendsburg, Germany, with like huge like tankers rolling by you. You just rolling by. I had the picture, right?
So, and whenever the Americans are winning, they pull out the orca to just wake us.
They're just like, wake them down. And we were like, what is happening? I remember. Yeah, look at the huge tanker
Go
ship
now,
behind
the
us.
Americans are sinking.
Yeah. You know.
Oh, they're sinking. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, for
Yeah.
them. But yeah, I remember that was like the last 750 of that 12.7 kilometer race, and we were like getting like rollers over the gunnels, and we were like, we're gonna sink. They're like, there was like a trawler that had pulled out right in front of us. It was waking us down. We're like, what's going on? I remember Matt Deacon said, keep it together.
They shut down the canal, but they have like a 45-minute window that they close it for.
So that guy was like,
so we started.
45
No,
is up.
we
Here
caught up.
go.
We caught up to him, right? Like that was like the last boat that was cleared, and we caught up to them.
I mean, to give reference, I mean, timely and all like that is that canal is a equivalent to a global shipping canal to Hormuz, right? Yeah. Those are the same boats that are going through there.
That's the German Hormuz right there.
Yes.
But it's cooler. Like everyone's friendly there. Everyone thinks you're a rock star.
Yeah.
You remember? I mean, 12.7 kilometers. People were like lined up the entire
all the way. People riding their bikes on the bike path. Well, here's a fun fact.
And Marcus didn't realize that there were mile markers all along the course.
I can see the hotel.
I can see the hotel. Making up when he was making up.
I can see the hotel.
When he was making up distances.
Like 10K in, and we're like, what does that mean? I can see the sun. That's like 1 million miles away. I was just like, how many like light seconds away? Come on.
Yeah, but Brett, so the thing
4K
about
to go. No, you're wrong.
No, you're wrong. Get off the wall. So the beginning starts with a 500-meter erg. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And
day one.
And they would
it's a 3-day event.
Yeah, it's a 3-day event, and they would link all the monitors.
Yeah,
it's kind of. But they would link the monitors together, so you would have the team average of the score.
Yeah,
and Brett, I don't know if you remember this.
Those were the longest 500 meters
you and I both
done.
You and I both went 112. We both went 112.
Yeah, I think like the team average was like 117 or something, right?
Yeah, right.
So like we were like, yeah, it was like the meters were counting down. We're like, yeah, we're crushing it, and then it like stopped with like 5 meters to go, and we were like, what happened? But we had to take like 10 extra strokes.
Snowbrick's like, I went so fast. I went like 122 on that one.
God, screw you, Snowbrick.
Yeah. So
quack you, Snowbrick. Right? There's a quack on this thing.
But I think the cool thing about that, Newlin, is that score, right? Is that 112. We were the two most powerful rowers in the world.
Bam.
Right? The two most powerful rowers in the world with that score. That led to the next day where that gave us the seed for the sprints, right? So then you do the 500-meter sprints, and so we won those,
right?
And they were like, I don't know, whatever, against that seawall. And so then it's a 6-lane start, and this is all the teams. These are all the 8s that made the final of the World Championship. So it is an international level regatta and we were all.
I mean, like the guys like Triggs Hodge, like they came out for that. Yes. Like this was like.
Yeah, it was like the best.
This is like a spectacle. It's a 12.7 kilometers. It's like not an official distance. It's like, let's just throw some good guys in these boats and just freaking knock heads and see what happens.
So from the start,
and Rendsburg loves it. Like they eat it up. I'm like, why do you guys like this so much? It's just a long race. But they love it. They treat you like rock stars. There's a stage. There's like hype man and everything. There's like a festival going on. Like they love it. Yeah. And because of that, I loved it. I went 5 times. I couldn't get enough.
It's one of those few experiences where an American rower got to feel like a pro athlete, and winning that race,
because there was a purse.
Yeah. Well, there was
money when you won,
and there's prize money when you won, and so that
it was better to get second or third because you got cash. When you won, they were like, when we won, they were like, we don't have that kind of cash.
Well, they weren't expecting. They weren't expecting us to win. They're like, we don't have that. We don't have that many Ben Franklins.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Somebody stole it from us anyway when we got home. They took a cut. Yeah,
that's fine. Whatever. The currency exchange kiosks.
But then we go to the Charles. And we started 33 out of 35 because we didn't go the year before. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
We were racing 12.7K. This is only 4 or what?
4K? Yeah.
4.7, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're like,
But I think that fall is what really set it up for a pretty impressive winter, because that's the winter that we had the 4 meter.
Or photometer,
the
photometer, as some people call it. Yeah.
And then that really sets it up where that became the next stage, which is like, now you are here, right? You're in the Olympic training year. You've made the national team. You've made it into the World Championships. You've won the Ian Hansa Cup. You're the most powerful rower in the world on the erg for 500 meters. Breaking 550 at this point, right?
Yeah, 547. That's where I maxed out.
So now you're at a true international top 1% oarsman, from nowhere in rowing Wyoming to the world stage. Take us a little bit through that, what the Olympic year was like for you to get to that, starting line.
Yeah, things got real, right? Like, I had never been to the Olympic. I had been through the World Championship selections, right? So, which were intense. Little did I know, the year before the Olympics, that ratchets up another 10 notches. I was like, I've been here the whole time. What just changed? Like, everyone's coming back, right? Everyone who's anyone. It's like, maybe they took some time off just because they needed to decompress, but everyone was back for that. And I was like, holy cow, there's a lot of guys I got to beat to get in any boat. I don't care what boat I'm in. I want to get in a boat, right? This is why you're doing it. You're competing. The next competition is the Olympics. I want to be in that one. Yeah, so it got real. And as the season went on and you kept grinding and you just kept racing and switching and racing and switching, pair matrices, 3/8 side by side, pull them together, switch these people, go again, just day after day. And holy cow, does that take a toll? But everyone's hungry. Everyone wants a seat, and the seats are getting pretty scarce, because there's no Cox 4 at the Olympics, right? There's no Cox pair. There's none of these non-Olympic events that if you make, you'll go to the World Championships on any other year. There's the 8, 4, and the pair if you're a sweep rower, right? That's it. So and you're only rowing one side, right? So that is 1, 2, 4, 7 spots. That's it that go to the Olympics. And you're like, holy cow, I have to beat a lot of guys. There's only 7 spots. There's a whole bunch of guys here for this camp. There's 7 spots. If you're a starboard, if you're just going to row starboard. Some guys could switch, and then you got a little more options, but people tend to specialize, right? So yeah, 7 spots. And as the year wears on, some of your good buddies that have been in there with, suffering through that the entire time, they're starting to fall off. They're starting to drop off. It's like, I love you guys, but you didn't win your seat race. So all of a sudden you're in a non-Olympic world boat. You can have that, or you got to train in the pair and try and make it through the national selection regatta, instead of the camp boat. So yeah, it gets real serious. It gets real. I mean, everyone's on pins and needles because you've been suffering and grinding with everybody in these camps, and everyone wants to get the fastest boats assembled, right? Because you have the best chance to medal at the Olympics, but at what cost? Who's getting cut? And that's what's on everybody's minds the entire time. So as that year wore on, I had rowed the 4 at EAT. We were in the 8 in 2007 in Munich. And then after that, it was like no holds barred, like everything reset. Like everything you did in the past doesn't mean anything. What can you do now? And towards the end of the year, there was a 4 that got put together that was hard to beat, and I was stroking it. And I remember, I distinctly remember these practices because it was, I had struggled. I had worked so hard in so many boats, but this 4 was easy for whatever reason. I was stroking it, and Juice was in it most times. Banksy, who like pound for pound is like the strongest dude ever. Like so light, but so strong. And Paul Tatey, who is, can't call it nepotism because, you know, he's Mike's brother, but he was light and he was experienced and he was making the boat move. So we 4 guys, anyone Mike tried to stack up against us, being left. Like they couldn't keep up with us. And I remember I was like, okay, this is cool. At some point he's gonna put like Volpe against us and Wyatt Allen and all these gold medalists from the last Olympic. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like they're really good. So we'll see. And I remember lining up, and so I had this long stroke. So everyone who got in the boat, anytime anyone switched in, I was like, just match me. Don't row like how you've been rowing. Don't row like you row like I row. If you got to stretch, you got to be long, match me. And anyone who switched in was like along for the ride. And I remember we would go 2, 4 side by side, and we switch, and it would be, you know, those main 4 guys, Juice, Paul Tatey, me, and David Banks. I remember somebody, I don't know, maybe Paul Tatey switched in for Wyatt, or I don't know, somebody, and we went off again. And I distinctly remember Wyatt at the end of one of those head-to-head races was like, I used the least amount of energy and went so fast. Like that was amazing. And then I remember Juice switched out into the other boat, and somebody else switched in, and we dusted whatever boat that was. And Juice was so pissed, and whoever was in my boat was like, said the same thing. They were like, I feel like I should have worked a lot harder for that win than I did. So that was kind of what happened with that boat. I'm not saying we were amazing. I'm just saying we rode long, and in a 4 for that distance, that worked. It enabled me, like I said before, to row my length, and maximize like my physicality, like my physical stamina. Because if I rode any shorter than I did, I would struggle. I would burn out, right? So if people could follow me, which they did, like anytime somebody switched in, I'd be like, hey, here's the deal. This boat's been going good. Just row as long as I do.
just
I don't care what it takes. Just stay in the water as long as me.
Do what I do and say what I say.
And so I feel like I'm rallying on, but we basically won the race, every race. Mike tried to like get somebody to beat that boat, and it didn't happen. So I remember rowing in one day, and Mike brought everyone into the boathouse. And we weren't exclusively in that 4, right? He was switching us into the 8 and other stuff, so we didn't know for sure what was going on. But he brought us in the boathouse, and I remember the day vividly. He said, "All right, here's the deal. You guys are the 4 for the Olympics." And he was pointing at, you know, me, Juice, Paul Tatey, and David Banks. You guys are the 4. And my brain like did a backflip. I was like, holy cow. Mike just said I'd make the Olympics. And then immediately after that, my brain did another backflip and said, I'm not in the 8. so I kept my mouth shut. I'm like, I just went to the Olympics. That's cool, but I know the 8's going to medal. Like, this is a medaling 8. The 4, we're trying to prioritize the 4, right? Because we're trying to get more medals for more boats, and the 4 was technically the priority, so that was a big honor. But I knew it was going to be a lot harder to medal in that 4 than it would be to medal in the 8. And I'm not saying it's easy to medal in the 8. I'm just saying there were like 10 boats within like a second, just from all the results we had been seeing in the straight 4, that could win that medal, that could win those 3 medals, you know? So I was ecstatic and also a little bummed I wasn't in the 8. But like I said, I wasn't going to say anything. I drove home after that practice, called my parents up. I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to the Olympics. And they were like over the moon, speechless, so happy. I remember that vividly. Yeah, so that was my 08 Olympic year. Oh man, I'm glad we're going through all this. I don't know if you can see that.
Wait. We have a hat change. We have a hat change.
Can you read it?
Wait, they had hats?
Bud. Club
They had
hats.
Club, right? Come on.
Bud.
Oh, wait.
Of course, Newlin found the hat.
Yeah.
Shout out Budweiser for sponsoring
Newlin
Olympic
found
Village.
Thanks for sponsoring that huge party tent, Bud.
Yeah.
2008.
This is definitely a 21 plus episode.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been drinking Scotch. You guys don't drink during this?
Two important
that
things.
Would really add.
We should start.
You should start.
Yeah, two important things.
Way past your guys' bedtimes. I'm going strong.
No way. It's two.
Ever since COVID,
things.
I've been meeting with my folks and my sister back in Wyoming. We FaceTime every Monday. We call it. You can read that. We call it McAllen Monday.
Nice.
We just FaceTime and drink and catch up on what's happened in the last week.
That's
so I feel
awesome.
like this is like an extended with my rowing buddies, McAllen Monday. So
it could.
Appreciate it.
The
Club Mettle, not Club Bud, but yeah.
Club Mettle, Metal Factory. Come on,
Metal.
No, I gotta make sure again. You realize how incredible you are. Is one that 4 went to Lucerne to the World Cup and medaled.
Right. I didn't mention that.
And to your point, like there are that field is really deep. It's a really deep competitive field, and there's very much
4 is tough.
And that 8 was very tough to select. And I was hoping Volp was come on because I think he knows the numbers in better detail. But at that time, part of the reason why Volp doesn't like anybody.
No, he texted and he said he screwed up the time zones and he wasn't going to jump in mid.
He's telling him to jump in now.
I tried to.
What are you doing that's so important? Raising chickens or something?
I don't know if you knew this, Newlin. That Volp told me this because he had still seen Mike's books, right? So Mike has all of his notebooks from those Olympic years. His napkins too, yeah. It's gonna be. You got Newlin and Walsh in the pair. No, wait. Newlin and Steve in the pair. Wait,
that's
they're both
a story.
Wait, go out in the 8. But this is important because this is part of the gathering of all these shows and trying to realize it and just really trying to focus on the reason. It's Fast Friends for a reason because it's about speed and who can actually go. And we had 2 8s.
It's not the speed of the interview. Are we? Where are we at? 3 hours?
Yeah, this is now we're going to McLaren training where it's just 3 hours is just an easy day.
Yeah, that's a piece of cake.
Those 2 8s at a certain point, part of the reason why it was tough to select the 4 and the 8 was that 2 of those 8s were going like sub 4 minutes consistently, both of them, like down to like 3:55 to 3:56.
They were fast,
and repeats, right? Like, Kleshnov did his article about what time's going to win the 1,500 meter race in LA, and we already beat that time. And it was Mike and Corzo were going crazy because they literally could not believe that we as a cohort were that fast. And I think it's really important to like rowers to understand what it's like to be in that environment where there's 16 rowers and 2 coxswains that are literally lighting a river or a lake on fire like that. And just the exceptionalism of rowing and oarsmanship in that time to be that quick. And to your point, you guys were the fastest for a lot of those pieces. I don't really remember because from Luke, ruining my Olympic dreams in 2004.
Son of a gun.
There's no way in hell I was going to, I was like, I'm not moving from this 5 seat ever. I'm not going to trials. I'm like, I'm here. Either it's here, I'm dead. I'm here, I'm dead. So like the whole 4 selection, I was not part of.
Forget it. All right, I'm here.
But yes, I know what you're saying because it hit my memory too. Is like that one week where you and I were in the pair and just were lightning fast.
Oh, something clicked. Do you remember that?
Something.
Oh my
clicked.
gosh! No, I remember that vividly. Of all the practices and races we've done, you and me in the pair. Oh my gosh! And I remember we sucked so bad on that first piece. So bad. And we were like, we got to pull it together for this next one. We got to change something. And I remember I was yelling at you. I was stroking, you were in bow, and I was yelling at you. I'm like, it is so heavy. Pick up the boat, Walsh. And you were like, I'm doing it. And I could, I'm in front, so I can't see you. Looking back now, I know what happened. You are way more explosive than I am. I need to tell you, Walsh, chill out and stay in the water longer. Because the second piece, you were so exhausted because you were trying to pick up the boat, but you were actually ahead of me. And so you had already picked up the boat, and then I got in the water and I'm like, why is this so heavy? Walsh is done. That's why he's done with his stroke. I remember Mike came up. He's like, "You guys suck. You got to get it together." You're like, "You're right. I don't know what happened." So we went back to the start. This wasn't even a national selection regatta. It was just
when me and Sam?
It was just a normal practice.
Was that when me and Sam were doing low rate 2Ks against you guys?
No, this was like an NSR beta.
It was like pre-NSR. Oh, yeah, we were doing 2Ks or something. And I remember we went back to the start for the second piece, and we were like, "All right, I don't know. Let's just match and go." And we didn't have any idea because we were so wiped from that. We were trying so hard and we weren't matching. And then we went and we smoked everybody. We were I remember crossing the line and we were like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then Mike drove up and he said, what just happened?
And we had a week. We had a week where we were just dominating, and then we went back to fucking Princeton.
And then we went back to sucking.
And then
I know, looking back, I know what happened is you got we were both tired, but you got so tired, you couldn't beat me out of the water. You had completely spent yourself, so you had to match me. You had to stay in the water. You had to get extra long to match me, which is what happened in 2008 when I was stroking that 4. It was if you just get extra long, don't try to do anything crazy, match the dumb long guy in front of you.
Yeah.
That was magical, man. I remember I was just I'm not working nearly as hard as I did in that first piece. I'm already exhausted. I'm just this is all the energy I have, and we're just rowing and flowing, and we smoked everybody. It was awesome
by a lot.
And then by a lot. It wasn't even close. And then
you did 2Ks
at magic for a finite amount of time.
And then you did 2Ks at 24 against me and Sam.
Yeah, I think the low rate screw us up because then you get back to you're limited, right? You're limited to that rate.
Sam and I were amazing at that.
And you're
from 14 to 24, you guys were unstoppable.
Sam and I were amazing.
You low rate ninja. Yeah, couldn't beat you guys.
Mike was so mad. Mike was so mad. What is going on here?
I think you and me in the pair.
I wrote a pair once.
Do you want to talk? You did row pair together.
So I know exactly what he's talking about. I've never rode with anybody who rows off the foot stretchers the way that Dan Walsh rows off the foot stretchers.
That's why Dan always had the stroke.
Lift of that.
That's why he had the stroke.
Lift is, oh God, it is something.
And I mistook it as the stroke because I couldn't see him. I mistook it as, this is heavy. Pick up the boat, Dan.
Yeah.
That's what I was yelling at him that whole piece.
It was heavy because the boat had already turned.
And it already gone.
And you were trying to correct it to get it straight again.
Yeah, exactly.
Luke, did you row with Dan long enough for him when you were in bow? Because he did this to me when he after a little bit, he just got frustrated. He said, just like Brett, he turned around, he said, just just stop trying and hang on.
Just
he
hang.
didn't, not in those words, but I do remember.
Just hang on.
I do remember. I remember thinking to myself, like, oh man, I've never been good in the weight room, but I better get in there if I want to row more with Dan. I'm gonna really need to start moving some weight here.
Just stop trying. Just stop trying, and just stop trying to beat me, and just hang on.
Stop trying. Stop trying. Dan, just stop trying.
No, that's what Dan would say to me. It's like, just stop trying to beat me.
Wax on.
I'm gonna beat you. Who do you think is gonna win?
Poor Justin had to fucking cox me.
Well, you were stroking though, so everybody would follow you. So it's kind of worked out.
Yeah.
All right.
So let the Wookiee win. So
do you want to just talk about Bud? The Bud, Steve, go. You go.
The Bud Club? Yeah.
We
got the Bud Club. The party after the race. Yeah.
Brett, you have weaved such a great story that we're at hour 2. And,
holy moly.
And we are gonna have. I think we got to get to the fun stuff.
We need a 2-parter. I think. First of all,
yeah. I mean,
we can wrap this up because I didn't win anything. Spoiler alert! I didn't win anything.
But from 08 to 12 is such a fucking saga because he was
thanks
part
for
of
being here, guys. That's our show.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. I didn't win anything. I can't believe you just watched that whole thing.
Wait, I got some
grand finale and then I won the gold medal.
There. If you stay around long enough, there's going to be more hats from Brett coming out of the woodwork.
I gotta follow Brett. Hold on, let me follow Brett.
No, we're good.
Dan's got a hat.
Oh,
there we go.
Bucket.
There we go.
I'll go with the bucket.
The Peruvian brothers coming out. Hey, they got another restaurant. They got to be able to sponsor us soon.
Oh my gosh, Ricotta hot sauce. Anyone who's still listening, eat Ricotta hot sauce.
Yes.
PeruvianBrothers.com. Oh my gosh. I order that stuff by the bucket load. So good. Order it, Ricotta. They also have smoky, sweet, and spicy, if you like that. Oh, I just went to his 3rd restaurant opening in DC. So I just
it must
saw
have
the
been
guy.
awesome.
It was awesome. Paul Tatey was there too. Paul Tatey owns the building.
He built the building.
He opened his restaurant in. Oh my gosh. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it all back full circle.
It's great to see that Paul says having juice in the building adds value to the building.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? Yeah. Paul wants to go to that building.
Yeah. So this may have to be a 2-part because the London campaign is crazy. It's a wild ride. And there's a lot of detail. And so let's just see where this goes. But I think you call your parents. And that's a really important moment for when you become an Olympian, right? It's a really amazing thing when you make that phone call. Because
you've been
up until that moment, they're calling you every week. And it's like, how's it going? I don't know how it's going. All right.
Like, are you wasting your life? What are you doing? It's like, shut up, Mom and Dad. Gosh.
Yeah,
I say that, but they didn't put any pressure on me. They're like, go try, live your life.
No,
but I wanted that. So
yep. Yes, but
going to the Princeton Training Center is literally the equivalent of showing up at Washington and not being admitted yet. That is
right.
But you just live that for multiple years in a row instead of just a couple of days or a week.
Yeah. So, I mean, I call my folks, and you feel great. You now have that stamp. It's just like, bam, you're going to be an Olympic athlete, barring any injuries or whatever. But yeah, the 4 has been qualified. Mike has marked you down. Your names are in the 4, but as the saying goes, you're never in the boat until you're at the starting line. I mean, listening to the gun go off, anything can happen. But yeah, it was an amazing feeling. And then, but it's also humbling because it's like, okay, I've achieved this level. I've achieved this step. There's more to do, but the 8 hadn't been named yet. So he named the 4 first, and then the 8 selection was still so brutal. And I remember, like, the last seat race was 2 Olympic gold medalists from Athens going head-to-head seat race, Bo Human and Matt Deegan. I was like, this is the boat, except for this seat. and we're just going to line the 8s up, seat race, switch, and do it again. And that was brutal just to watch. Like, I wasn't in the boats, but it was brutal to watch. So yeah, it's just goes to show how cutthroat everything is, because you have established rowers that that both move the boat well, and one's going to go and one's not. And I don't know, the difference was like almost negligible. I feel like it's tough at that point to have it come down to that, but yeah. So anyway, let's fast forward then, I guess. We're in Beijing. We made it. Day selected. On the 4 selected, the pair.
Wait, no. I can't let you do that because you've been wearing all the hats.
I'm wearing all the hats.
You're wearing all that. Take us through processing. You know what? You're probably the best guest to take us through processing.
Oh my gosh.
Take us
through. That was the first time I've been through it. So yes. I didn't
get that tail. How'd you get all these hats and shirts?
Yeah, it's like, I got this in 08. It was just, they just line you up. I should have brought the shades too. I got the Oakley fuel cans. I remember. I'm like, these are so cool. Yeah, you get just loaded on stuff. They're like, try this on. Does that fit? Boom, it's yours. Try this on. Boom, that's yours. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And just like, where am I going to put all this stuff? They're like, here's a suitcase. Boom, it's yours. Put it in there. It says USA on it. I'm like, oh my God. It was like, look at all this swag. I'm like, I'm official. I'm an Olympian. This is cool. He's like, you got to wear that at the opening ceremony. And I'm like, I'm not going to the opening ceremony. They're like, okay, well, you still get it. And then you wear that at the closing ceremony. And then you wear that if you medal. And I'm like, actually, I think you just wear the uni because you just get out of the boat and get off the dock and get your medal. And they're like, whatever, take it anyway. Yeah, you get so much stuff. And I remember a lot of them were just like, try this on. And I'm like, it doesn't fit. They're like, we don't have anything bigger. Just take it. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. And I remember leading up to 08, like we all flew to California because it was in Beijing, right? So it was like a 2-step journey. We flew to California. Like, that's where we is that where we went to? I can't remember where we got our stuff. Did we get all of our stuff there?
San Jose State.
Yeah, so we got our stuff there. We met Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor. He came by, stopped by, said hello to everybody. He's not as big in person, as it turns out.
No, he's not. He's not 6'9" and worth a climb.
He's not. He's not. But he's super cool. Everyone was just like, oh my gosh, Arnold, get to the chopper and take a picture with me. So that was great. That was a fun time. And then we flew the rest of the way to Beijing. And it's just like being on the East Coast. It was hot and humid. And I remember they gave us ice vests because they knew it was going to be hot. Like Nike outfitted us with ice vests, which we wore, but you couldn't wear it rowing because it constricted you too much. So we just wore it sometimes. I don't know. But we didn't even stay at the Olympic Village because the racing course was way out of the way. So we stayed at the Super Sunshine Happy Hotel, which if you're unfamiliar, that's what China names all its stuff. Sunshine has to be in the name. So yeah, that was one of them. And and to get to the course, instead of busing, we rode bicycles.
Yeah.
To and from, which is pretty ghetto because we're just at a farm that got dug out for this racing course. But your fearless leaders here. We got little Danny right there and Steve trying to beat us over here. Little baby Steve on his baby bicycle.
It was a baby bicycle.
So that was coming back from practice one day. That was a good time. But
yeah, how we didn't get hurt is amazing.
I don't know. Yeah, can you imagine if we had just hit a pothole and just went down and just broke something? Your bike would have been oh.
But Snowbrook would start a race every day. Guys, let's race. We got to race home. No, we don't. Yes, we do.
He's we just worked out. How about you save it for the race, Snowbrook?
I remember walking into that water park since like right away, seeing the kayak. The whole. I truthfully I forgot all about biking to and from there. But
recorded. I see it.
And we made those T-shirts, and they were like, remember the guards were like, "Are you? I don't think that means what you think it means." And we were like,
Operation Shave Gorilla shirt.
Yeah.
Xing Dong. And we were like, no, we're pretty sure it means exactly what we think it means.
Yeah.
They're like, okay,
we got this.
We got this.
I just wore that mowing the lawn the other day. Still got it. Oh man, I should have brought that down. This memory lane stuff is great.
It is. It's fantastic. So we were riding our bikes to and from the course, and you're there about 3 weeks before the games start.
Yeah, something like that. Just trying to get acclimated to the time zone, and feeling good, feeling fit, tapering a little bit.
And so when did it start to feel real for you?
Opening ceremonies night, I guess, when we were like, that's official, right? We didn't go to it, which was smart, but sucky at the same time. We just watched it from a monitor until like 9 p.m. And then Mike was like, go to bed. It's like, all right. We got a race tomorrow. But he's for the next day, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, so we got to rest, got to the race course. Went down the heat, and holy cow, people are fast, right? This is my first Olympics. And I'm sitting at the start line, and all I can remember thinking is how quiet it is, because nobody watches the start of the race, right? All the grandstands are at the end. And I'm like, this is the Olympics. This is a big deal. And I just remember just like attention, and then my brain clicking, oh man, we are about to go in the Olympics. And there is zero sound right now. Like I don't hear anything except the blood pounding in my brain. And then the buzzer goes off, and I blacked out. No. And then it's all automatic, right? Every stroke you've taken up to this point has led you to this moment, and you know what to do. Your brain almost turns off, your physiology takes over, and you just go. And we didn't row a bad race. But like I said, that year, the 4, like up until like there was 10 crews that could have made the grand final or medal, because they were that close. And we ended up not advancing automatically to the semi. We had to go through the rep. So we did that. And then in our semi is the big one. That's I haven't thought about this in a while. Gosh, you guys. So our semi went off. There's so many good crews. We went, we took off, and we were going for it. We didn't have a bad race, but the other guys were just better. And we didn't make the grand final. We didn't finish in the top 3, which sucks. That immediately sets in, because a lot of the televised stuff doesn't even happen unless you make the grand final anyway, right? So I got a bunch of people at home. They're like, you're in the Olympics, we're going to watch for you. They were like, we were looking for you in the opening ceremonies. I was like, yeah, we weren't there. He's like, okay, well, we were looking for you in your event. I was like, yeah, we weren't in the grand final. So that was kind of a letdown. I mean, of course, it's amazing to be there, but as an athlete, that doesn't matter. You want to win. Right? You want to win, you want to medal, you want to be in that grand final, you want to go for it. And we didn't get to that point. But as it worked out, the top 3 in our semi ended up getting gold medal and bronze in the final, right? So it was like, well, crap. Dang it. Well, it would have been cool to have that opportunity to get in the grand final. Like nobody, and like the Kiwis, right? The Kiwis who we dueled against in 06. They did really well in 07. Did they win in 07?
They won in 07.
They won in 07.
Here,
they didn't even make the final.
Fun fact: the 3 teams that medaled in 07 didn't make the final in 08. That's how tight that event is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They didn't even make the final. And then we were in the semi that had the gold medal and bronze. So I don't know. It's the way it shook out, which sucks. But so that was sucky. I remember after the race. I remember after the race that day, the regatta was over and the 8 was coming to practice to get ready for their race. And we were sitting in there, just the 4. We were sitting in the room, like just having everything settle on us, like what just happened. I remember it specifically you, Dan. You came in and you just gave me a huge pat on the back and were like, I'm so quacking proud of you, just I'm so effing proud of you. And we were all at basically at the verge of tears at that point, and that meant a lot. And I think I just remember saying, thanks, man. Like, go win this thing. We couldn't do it. Somebody's got to do it. There was enough good guys at this camp that we got to make something happen, and we didn't do it. Yeah. So that was a heavy moment. But I distinctly remember you, Dan, and that meant a lot. And it was cool to see you guys eventually go on and win a medal for us. So thanks, man. And after all that sunk in, I mean, that sucked. Rowing is the first week of the Olympics. So the whole second week to decompress. I don't think I slept for 3 days straight and just drank and watched events and drank and partied and watched events. And it was incredible just to unload all of that. I don't know, all that pressure, just to release all that, just to have all that energy because we weren't training after the race. No reason to train, right? So that second week was amazing. You get athletes that have been suffering for 4 years, day in and day out, just all of a sudden released, and we went nuts. I remember Juice was my roommate, and I tried to sleep one night, and Juice wouldn't let me. He was like, "No, dude, you are getting up. We are going out." I remember Ronald McDonald. Come on, we got McDonald's open until 3 a.m. That's where we would just go at the Olympic Village, just free Egg McMuffins as much as you can eat.
Wasn't it 24 hours?
Yeah, you're probably right. It probably
I kind of remember waiting.
Should I show the picture?
Waiting.
Should I show the picture?
We put Ronald McDonald in some compromising positions.
There
it is. Son of a gun. You got to move it. Scooch it.
Yeah.
Other way. There he is. Poor Ronald. He should have known what was going to happen.
No, I remember one night waiting for it to tick over to breakfast. They were
because they were serving dinner stuff, and then maybe that was it. 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. they switched over to breakfast.
Oh, if we wait for 20 minutes, we'll get Egg McMuffins.
Good times. But yeah, that was the first experience. I'd never been there before. I didn't know what to expect. Turns out Lucerne is a trap.
Only for the
World
U.S.
Cups, in Lucerne. Turns out all of the other nations just trained through that, and we basically tapered for that and went for it. And we got the bronze, which was great. So we're like, dude, we could medal at the Olympics. And then we got, we tried to rally everyone. We tried to rally ourselves and be like, if we didn't win the grand final, we should win the petite final. It's just hard to get that gumption. It's like, wait, nobody cares. We were going for a medal, and all of a sudden that didn't happen. So we ended up 9th. But yeah, that. And I remember at the closing ceremony thinking to myself, I'm like, that was so much work, and there's no guarantee that you'll ever make the Olympic team again. But do I want to go for it? And I said yes. There's no hesitation. I mean, there's unfinished business here.
So you were having
I can do better than that.
you're having that conversation with yourself then, because we've had the reason I'm asking is we've had a lot of guests in 08, different years that are like, I didn't know, I had to I had this tremendous either success or disappointment or whatever it may have been, and they're like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I want to start my life beyond rowing or whatever. So yeah, super interesting to hear that. And then one of the lingering questions I have just listening to your Olympic story is like, is there any self-reflection of like, I would say pre-race, not necessarily. I could totally imagine and empathize that was probably a pretty heavy outcome. But I would say pre-race, was there any self-reflection of like, shit, man, like I was, 6 like the Michigan State coach told me 6 years ago I could be in the Olympics, and here I am. Like,
yeah,
how the hell this happened?
I was like, man, you prophesied that. That was amazing. I am
talking. I
was super stoked and appreciative just to be there. Yeah. I was like, this is amazing. I'm an Olympian. I'm gonna compete here. So there was that, but any Olympian who's like any good, like you want a freaking medal there. So bring back some hardware, right? Like even if we weren't going to be gold, we wanted something, and we had just medaled in Lucerne, so we thought, boom, we were right there. We could do it, and honestly, we were close. I think the other semi, like we beat the other semis times, and we were out of the grand final. So, I mean, again, you can't compare race to race because wind conditions can change, but it hurt. But that was kind of like the salve, maybe, or the motivation, saying we were right there. So yeah, there was like there's more to do. I want to do it. Plus, it was like, oh wait, wasn't it like the housing financial crisis happening then? I was like, well, what do you think? I'm going to get a job or something? It's just keep rolling. The economy was in the dumps. I was like, I'll just keep rolling. So yeah, that was my decision right then and there. I knew it. Like there's no question. So yeah. So it might be a little much to get into 2012 at this point. I don't know that you need to do a part 2, but that was pretty, bam, that was pretty good.
Would love to have a part 2, but
I'm around.
Let's finish part 1.
Let's do it. What else? What else do you want to?
Well, I mean, Brett, you're right about this show. It's an emotional journey, like for both guests and I think us. And I do think with technology and being able to do a podcast, it's that there aren't a lot of people that can experience something like this, and it's most human beings really can only dream about being an elite athlete, let alone Division I, let alone national team, let alone on the Olympic starting line. And a lot of the research that I'm doing is just showing how fine of a margin that is to where like the winds of fate can change the direction of anywhere. And like just being in the arena in a lot of ways is enough, right? And a lot of it comes down to like the more of these shows that we do, and the more that I'm hearing from other people from outside of the U.S. rowing like network, like our teammates and our teammates past and athletes that are trying to do this now, and our competition is the reflectiveness of speed, right? Like there's always medals won, but the speeds that we were able to go, a lot of those speeds haven't been replicated 20 years later. And I think that's like really the fun experiment about this is like just to know, I just want you to know that you were able to put yourself at the edge of human evolution in something. And that edge is sharp, right? That edge is really sharp.
Razor sharp.
And Steve has a really good quote, like luck only matters at the Olympics if you're good enough to use it, and you can't lose the Olympics unless you're good enough to win it. And I think that with that kind of setup, I just want to really know, you went to 2. We'll talk about the second one. But just in case we don't get together fast enough for continuity, like, I want to know, like, what do you think your edge was amongst all of us? Because that's the real thing, is amongst the best of being, on any given day, if you won a piece at Princeton Training Center in that era, you were the best rower in the world that day, most likely. And like, what was your edge amongst all of us that you knew in your back pocket was yours?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, just being a big guy and having some physical strength, put me on the board, right? And then after that, I mean, what's great about this, especially sweep rowing, is you can't do it by yourself. You got to have somebody else with you, right? And they got to be able to trust you, and you got to trust that. So I don't think it was just me. Like, I came to practice every day for you guys, for everyone else, right? I mean, sure, it's a selfish endeavor. When push comes to shove, I want to be in the boat. And some friends are gonna have to be sacrificed, especially if they're starboards, right? But yeah, every day was different. So every day I woke up and I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to be rolling with. What's the lineup going to be? So all I got to do is get myself in the best physical shape. And then at that point, I got to match everyone else who's in the boat with me. And damn it, I loved racing. So I kept coming to practice. But it's interesting because now that I've been so removed from it now, there's been enough time. I've come to terms with my career. I find I have so much respect for medalists, non-medalists. It doesn't matter. People who I've raced with or against, they've pushed themselves to their limit. I know they have. And whether the circumstances have, gone for them or against them, or they had luck on the day or not luck, that's just how it works. Maybe the wind was blowing a certain way and your lane wasn't as helpful for your lane. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep, or you weren't feeling as well and it just didn't work out for you that day. Just the fact that you've been pushing yourself to the max the whole time I've been doing it, because I've seen it. If you fall short, if you win the gold medal, you've already proven yourself to me, right? Like, we've been there together. We've been going through. So it doesn't matter to me, because you've already proven yourself, right? You've already done it. And then at that point, when you go into the big races, to the big days, you've already proven yourself to me. You've already proven yourself, hopefully, to yourself. And you've put all the work in. Go and see what happens. That's it. You could have a great race and you could win. And that's awesome because you've prepared for it. You could have an off stroke. Heck, I don't know. You could catch a crab. Couldn't have catch a crab in like the 3 years prior. Maybe you catch a crab on the day. You lose. Sucks. But man, you've already proven yourself to me, to your teammate. Now that I've looked back on a little bit, don't get me wrong, there's been nights. I mean, it's been 14 years later after 2012 that I'm like, that I'll just be like in bed and all of a sudden I'll be awake. And I'll be like, why am I awake? And why am I thinking if we had started our sprint 5 strokes sooner, we would have medaled? What? I thought that was done. What's happening? Get that. Trying is, I got to go to work tomorrow. Why am I awake right now? So that's always still there. But yeah, these guys have been huge factors in my life. I want to thank you and everyone who I've rode with, who's listening. Great friends, lifelong friends, and you've always got my trust and love. You've proven it to me. So I can go through the rest of my life knowing that, and I'm pretty happy.
It's fucking awesome, Newlin.
That's a good mic drop.
Could just be the whiskey talking.
Well, you almost had a chance to mic drop it there, but we do have a final question.
Oh,
and
damn. Well, I have more whiskey. Let's go.
Well, and so
right.
I think I do. I really mean it when I say you're one of my pantheons of oarsmen, of just who I look up to, and I think you really helped me get a better athlete out of myself because of your approach to this. And I think our final question is always one of my favorites because it's that retrospective or future, vision. But if you could go back in time or forward in time and coach yourself, when would it be and what would you say?
Oh, no. You can hit me with that at the end? Holy cow.
You might want to take that sip.
Holy cow. Yeah. Wait, forward in time?
That's a new one. That's Dan.
What would I tell myself? Forward in time?
I've said it before. I've said it before.
Wait, repeat that one more time. Hit me with that question.
If you could go back in time or forward in time and coach yourself, what would you say and when would it be?
Oh my gosh. How could you go forward?
Don't get hung up on that.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, maybe I should do that. What would I say to myself? What would my future self say to me right now?
I said to myself,
So like, self, you crushed it, man. Holy cow. I am in such a good place because of what the decisions you made right now. Oh man, I get to go back and say that too, though. I right now I struggle with I've pursued so much at a high level, and now I'm like, what do I do now? But the answer's there. It's like my children, try and make them the best they can be, right? So that's what my focus is, because it's not about me anymore. I'm old news. That's where we're talking. This is good stuff. So I'll go back in the past. Let's see if I could.
AC Bear Claws 2 at a time.
2 at a time. You watch right here. If I could go back, I would teach myself to row better earlier. I think that's what I would do. I relied on my strength a lot early, and that got me to a certain point. But I feel like I didn't row best technically until like the Olympic cycle leading up to London. I think up until then, I started to get better on the national team, obviously, because that's all we did. And I had to adapt. But I think for a long time, I was just a big, strong dude, and I pulled really hard, which gets you pretty far, but doesn't get you all the way. So a lot of coaches would coach me like they would coach everyone else, and they would say, get the blade in the water and just pull hard. And I would do that. But if I could work some finesse into that and some feel, I would do that. But I think coaches got a lot of feedback, a lot of instant gratification when they saw a huge dude pull a little harder, right? When they got yelled. So if I could go back, knowing what I know now and knowing, how well I rode by the end of my career, if I could get that to transition earlier, who knows if I had started there, where it would have gone later. So that's what I would coach myself. I'd be like, look, I know how to row pretty well now. freshman at Michigan State, let's row like that. Still be really strong, but also row well. See where that takes you.
Well done. Well done.
That's what I tell us. But it was good. It was a good learning process the whole way.
It is. It is. Oh, it still is. It's a unique.
I'm still learning. When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Brett Newlin.
Luke, I'm glad we got you to say more than 5 words on it.
Yeah, you did. You did that.
I did. I got it out of you. I am psyched.
That's all for today's show. Fast Friends is a Metal Factory production. All opinions expressed are our own and those of our guests. If you like our show, follow along or subscribe with us wherever you get your content and podcasts. Thanks for listening.